It would actually help if I were to press that little button right there so the Ustream feed would actually save. However, it works that way sometimes. Going at 25 before the top of the hour, and we have got a stacked lineup from start to finish. Coming into the top of the hour, multi-time NWA Women's World Champion Tasha Simone set to join us.
I like her. She's good people.
The one who has been referred to as Mabo's UK counterpart, Mad Dog Matt Denton, will be joining us probably around 6:15 as well.
I like him. He's good people.
There you go. Coming in at the bottom of the 6 o'clock hour, Beyond Ringside alumni, Brooks Logan making his first appearance on the show in a while. Brooks been way too damn long.
I like him. He's got a hot sister.
Also joining us at 6:30, going to be Beyond Ringside alumnus Paulie Wells. Glad to have him back on.
I like him. He eats sandwiches.
There you go. Also coming in at the top of the 7 o'clock hour, Central Time, by the way, for the record, we're going to be joined by MMA reporter and good friend of the family, Vicki Jackson.
I like her. She's got a hot niece.
And Vicki has got a very special guest coming on with us right at 7:15 p.m. Central. And at 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern, we are going to be joined for the first time in forever and a day. And I'm just saying it like this. He's finally breaking his radio silence. The Master of Malice, Mark James, right here on Beyond Ringside.
I like what me and him did in that bathroom that time.
You scary man. The week started out in the first few minutes was something that actually had me on the floor laughing for probably about 30 minutes, so don't ask me to recount much of Raw. But personally, I would like to thank WWE for the John Cena Christmas card to everybody. I mean,
I took a drink. I'm sorry. Dude. See, I told you, burp button.
There you go.
Are you talking about the animation, or are you talking about the
song,
opening?
the animation, all of the above?
That was hilarious. Oh my God! I actually kept it on my DVR for like a couple days and just watched the opening. The animation of the opening like at least 3 or 4 times. And I mean, they even had some of the folks that were injured, like Sin Cara and Orton, and did you see where they said R-Truth like literally ripped his knee open on a prop at TLC, and he was going to be out for a minute because he had to get stitches and stuff. And even Mr. I Got Personal Problems, Rey Mysterio, was there.
Yeah. Well,
but, I mean, I thought it was freaking hilarious, and then much kind of like the tribute to the troops. I mean, if you noticed, all the faces won on Christmas, but still, that whole episode, I think that's the first time that I've enjoyed all 3 hours of Raw in probably a couple months.
I'm ill about one little thing from this past Monday night on Raw, and that was the basic fact of life that they felt that they had to replay the botched Santa incident 8 frickin' times throughout the course of a 3-hour episode. And I'm not counting the first 2 times that they reran it after the commercial break.
Yeah, and that got on my nerves. And I was actually discussing it because, like I said, there's a couple of people I work with who are pro wrestling fans. How messed up do you think they made some kids? Because, I mean, it wasn't just like a hit and run. And, God bless Mick Foley. He tried. He's no stunt man, but he tried his best to make it look like he got hit. Because you notice that they had that heavy edit where it was just like he had his back, you cut to the little girl, and then all of a sudden he's turned around and then jumps on the hood. But how many kids do you think they just messed up? Not just because it was like a hit, just hit them and then take them away. No, they had crime scene tape and
pop the hood on the Beamer.
Huh?
Pop the hood on the Beamer.
Yeah, and then like, oh my God. And I also say it was another brilliant little piece of editing, so when they did close-ups, you couldn't see that it was Foley who played Santa.
No, it was easy. You could see him coming out of the ramp. He did the same thing on Tribute to the Troops.
But I mean, there's a lot of people, like some of the guys I worked with at work, they were like, well, he looked like he was walking like Foley, but was it Foley? Because you notice they pushed the tree down.
Yeah.
And it was covering his face. But I mean, yeah, I agree, dude. That was just the constant replay of it. And if there was there was probably some kid who who, for some whatever unfortunate reason, who watched Raw but didn't get Christmas presents. Maybe mom and dad didn't wake up in time or whatever. You know that kid probably is now traumatized because he's like, holy crap. Even though Santa came back, he was probably like, holy crap. Santa was probably down during the time he was supposed to come by my house. Thanks a lot, WWE.
Thanks a lot, Vince.
And did you notice that ADR and Ricardo didn't heel it up?
No, they didn't.
I mean, they were actually remorseful. I mean, now, he kind of healed it up during the street fight.
Of course.
Sorry, the Miracle on 34th Street fight. And can I say, first of all, Cole's puns? No. Just stop right there.
I know, not even going to mention it.
But, I mean, so they're really, like, I hadn't had a chance to watch SmackDown because it was, it was taped anyway, but I read the spoilers, but they're really kind of they're going through with this whole ADR face thing.
I'm okay with it because I think it was time.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Because, you've posted in one of the Facebook groups, with the exception of people from NXT who have not had a chance to make the big stage yet, or people who have just come up, who would you let go? And
not only that, but I mean, it's always a given that when they start to, when they start doing, because it's always on a Friday, so so it's always Black Friday.
Yeah.
Those are always anybody in NXT FC. I still want to call it FCW.
So do I.
And that's one of the many things that went on this year in 2012: the death of FCW and the emergency of the emergence of NXT. But those guys could get cut at the drop of a hat. I mean, God bless him. Consequences Creed, Xavier Woods. We've had him on the show. Had him on the show right before he went. Actually,
yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
He was a nice guy. But God bless him. I think he's a tremendous talent. But I expect any day to be like WWE has come to terms with the release of whatever his name is. I mean, I know it's Xavier Woods in NXT, but I don't want to. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that they throw out shoot names.
Well,
but then I guess they do it to differentiate from a storyline and a real firing. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, as much as I think he's tremendous talent, it doesn't surprise me every day that that you don't see his name. So that's why I made sure I posted in that particular Facebook group, other than the NXT guys. And I don't know. I don't know if I agree with some of the. I mean, these are people's opinions, honestly, but I don't know. Where the hell were you going with this, Eddie? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, because I was actually going to go ahead and say the entire cast of 3MB, because...
You know what? No. You know what? Screw you. Hold on. I'm pulling it up.
I know you're going to.
That for a minute. I'm pulling up the Facebook page.
Okay, I'll go ahead and say this. For as much as I really hate the concept that they would do it, I say go ahead and let the Usos go so they can come back down to the Southeastern and actually be able to work a 20-minute match or a 30-minute match. Because God, they're a tremendously gifted tag team, and I think every once in a while WWE lets them do something really cool and really good and lets them shine for a minute. But I don't think it's nearly often enough. I think if any team in WWE deserves to have a run with the tag gold right now, put the damn things on the Usos.
Oh, totally, dude. I mean, back when they were down here working for what's that little company you work for?
The name escapes me right now. Yeah, right. Global Championship Wrestling. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. They're still around.
Every once in a while.
But I mean, I got to meet them, and those guys were just the nicest guys. They're funny, and I've really grown to like what they were. They went from like when they first came in, and they had Tamina. It was kind of like they were doing the quote unquote, and nobody scream racist. But, they were doing the quote-unquote angry black person gimmick, but they weren't black, they were Samoan, so I guess the angry Samoan person gimmick. And, but they were like, but we're not barefoot and eating raw fish, we can have educations, and that's when they were dressing like P. Diddy on a bad day.
There you go.
But, I mean, I'm just, I was a big proponent of them when they were here. Yeah. And then when they got called, they got called down to Florida, I was like, sprayed baby gravy everywhere because I was like, yes, they deserve to be there.
Yeah, they did. I
But
mean, now question. Speaking of a
well,
tag,
hold
ahead.
on.
Continue.
Now, and I swear if you ever tell them this, I'll punch you in your throat. But back to the getting released thing.
Okay.
Ted Anus, he said Kurt Hawkins and JTG. You know, honestly, without Shad, and you know, they took him out of the gangster pants. But without Shad, JTG there's really nothing for him.
He's just floundered because they're not really using him that much for enhancement talent. They're not they're not putting him in position to make the Intercontinental or the U.S. champion look good. And I really haven't seen him on. Okay, I don't watch Superstars or Main Event. And
I don't either.
And I haven't watched Saturday Morning Slam yet either, especially after I heard the comment about no headshots because they don't want to give kids the wrong impression.
Yeah, no submissions either. There is no more. Well, Superstars is not around anymore.
I thought that was still on .com on the web.
Is it?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't have the Classics on Demand channel on WWE either, which I really wish I'm going to get that back in January.
I think I am too. But yeah, JTG, Kurt Hawkins, who was going somewhere with Tyler Rex. They were going to give him like the Magic Mike kind of gimmick, and disappeared too. But Ted also brought up a good point. And like I said, if you ever tell him I said that, I'll punch you.
He listens.
He goes, anybody on the main roster that didn't make the cut onto the retail release of WWE 13.
Yeah.
He said even if they made it via DLC, like Drew McIntyre, because, you know, Drew McIntyre, he did, and remember they used to hang them, they thought that guy hung the moon, and look what happened. But, you know, he actually made a good point. But, you know, Wally Wad, he said JTG. Okay, I'll you know, understand, but seriously, Clay Burton said Brock Lesnar. Seriously, you think they're going to release Brock Lesnar?
I don't think they're even going to use Brock Lesnar until after the first of the year.
Exactly. But anybody who said Heath Slater and 3MB, Wendy Harkins and Robert Cosper, or Brodus Clay and Robert Cosper, all three of you people can suck it, okay?
Actually,
because I mean, I distinctly put, just because you don't like the gimmick doesn't mean that they're going to get fired. With that in mind, Eddie, I want your opinion on this. With that in mind, if you can pull in, I mean, because you know, there's the roster's a lot. You know, there's a lot of people on the roster that, you know, you'd be like, oh, hey, that guy's on there. Who do you think they would release if they were to, if this Friday? If this coming Friday, they were to do Black Friday, who do you think they would cut?
Oh, do me a favor. Let me pull up the WWE roster page real quick. I'll go straight over to Raw. Going at 10 minutes before the top of the hour. Let me go and go to Superstars and Okay. Let's bring this down as soon as the page decides it wants to freaking scroll. I'm just... because it's weird the way things work out on Raw.
How so?
Because of the fact that there are times when, just when you think that they're going to give up on somebody, they're not, or they don't. And just
like
when you think... Just like, oh, come on.
I was like, what the hell?
Autoplay commercials on fucking websites. I apologize. Anyway. I really do.
Eddie's trying to scroll.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was trying to go to the roster page, and it just couldn't. I couldn't really get. They've changed up the way that they list the roster. That since the split's done, they don't have the Raw brand or the SmackDown brand anymore, which kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. I'm really not sure. I mean, you know that this is going to be Mahal, McIntyre, and Slater's last chance. So honestly,
yeah, but you got to admit though, they're making a gimmick work that, and bless them for trying that. Jimmy Rave, Lance Hoyt, and Christy Hemme didn't work.
Christy Hemme can make anything.
The Rocket Raven section was over, though.
Yeah, it was. But the thing about it is that goes back to Impact and their lack of long-term creative direction.
And also, I think it also has to do partially with financial backing.
And speaking of Impact for one hot second, then we'll come back over to WWE. There is no reason in God's creation why we should have to persevere through the Bubba Ray, Bully Ray, Hogan family freaking drama.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, I'm over it, I'm sick of it. It's like, okay, fine, guess what? Brock Hogan didn't get over as the director of the Knockouts. We don't need the forced drama of yet another Hogan Knows Best situation, and we don't need daddy and daughter, and my God, yes, they went ahead and just put out Bully's shoot name, which I'm totally against. So,
oh God, yes.
Yes,
and
okay,
by
look.
doing this, they pretty much neutered him too.
Yeah, I think they did. I agree. Now, if there is anybody that WWE should cut from the roster right now, it's the whole cast of Impact.
You and Chase Pearson.
I'm the one who started that crap, okay?
I know.
I'm the one who started it, and Chase jumped on because I actually made sense when I was doing that argument.
Oh my God, you're crackheads. But first of all, can we not get Chase's old wrinkly butt on here even for a hot second?
We can.
No, we don't need to.
Okay.
Because this is not 1998 Attitude Era.
Although it was good to see the New Age Outlaws on the Slamming Awards episode.
Oh, nothing, dude. They worked Madison Square Garden house show, and they were I think they worked Detroit too. I want to say in Detroit they beat Rhodes Scholars, and I want to say maybe in MSG they beat the Rhodes Scholars. But anyway, back to the Impact. While you're just trying to look up names, even if you aren't anymore, go to Wikipedia, look up the WWE roster.
No kidding, I didn't even think about that. Wikipedia, God, what a godsend.
But honestly, Brooke coming out there going, I don't know how they saw us. Somebody must have told my dad. I don't really know. I have a penis.
Bubba the Love Sponge shot a hidden camera video of the two of them together, okay?
Yeah. Oh, stop, because that makes me flash back to the sex tape.
Which I have still not seen.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you.
Look, there's some people in this world that I don't want to see naked. One is Kim Kardashian, two is Hulk Hogan, three the cast of Glee, which I don't even know who's on the damn cast, okay? I've seen the show twice.
I ain't talking about that. Kim Kardashian, if she would have took her bra off, that would have been a very enjoyable sex tape. I could have actually spanked through it. Because she never took her bra off, she just kind of pulled them out.
Mabel, you're the only person I know who could spank through the episode of the Smurfs.
Not really, because it's all dudes, except for Smurfette, and she's not even a real Smurf.
She's an import, right?
Dude, oh God, I had this discussion earlier at work this week.
Busing does work.
Huh?
Busing does work. See, and there's one thing I do want to say. I think that they're going to hold on to 3MB through WrestleMania and let them do a special performance against One Direction.
No.
We'll have a battle.
If they bring in One Direction, I'm freaking pulling. First of all, you got to think that One Direction's still going to be popular by Mania.
They are.
Dude, I will freaking pull at Elvis Presley and shoot my. Or was it? Yeah, it was Elvis shot. Man, I will shoot my TV. Or whoever's house I'm over watching WrestleMania, I will shoot your TV.
Yeah, I think we may have a new place to go for Mania this year, and possibly even Royal Rumble.
No, Royal Rumble's it's a personal thing for me.
Okay, well, it's going to be up on Thursday night. That's the cryptic internet message of the week.
Anyway, what were we talking about? About 3MB. Yeah, I mean, obviously they've made Slater the front man because obviously, WWE doesn't like it when, people with accents try to lead a group. Just saying. I mean, it's weird. You got an Indian dude, you got a Scottish dude, and then you got a dude with a Southern accent.
Redhead and a tan.
Redneck, WWE was like, oh crap, who's gonna talk in this group? Like nobody's gonna understand any of them.
Unfortunately, it's Slater.
Southern accent at least.
He'll appeal to the people in Tennessee and Mississippi and sometimes Louisiana.
I mean, geez, they were just.
We're giving out.
I mean, I'll say this though: out of all of them, at least Slater's got the charisma to pull it off.
Yeah.
It's cheesy charisma. Because, I mean, come on, you dude. That dude's crapping out more cheese than the state of Wisconsin, but God love him. The stuff he did with the legends during the summer, that's what saved. You want to talk about saved his career?
Yes.
That stuff with every legend.
Oh, God, yeah.
The fact that he sat there, other than beating Doink, but he still ended up getting hit with a diamond cutter. Plus, that was a perfect way to set up for WWE 13. THQ, WWE money.
Big time.
Oh God, $45 million, I think.
Yep.
But to me, that's what saved Heath Slater's career. And then Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre were like, "Hey man, hey, what you doing there? Can we hitch our trailer to you?" And that's probably what saved their careers.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, they were lingering in NXT. Now, if NXT was televised, and I know we're running short on time, but if NXT was televised, then it wouldn't be a problem for the Usos, for Jinder Mahal, for Drew McIntyre, for Tyson Kidd, even Justin Gabriel, all those guys, Michael McGillicuddy, sorry, Santino. It wouldn't be so bad if that was on TV again, as they were, helping out, and one generation helping the next generation come to TV, because that's where all those guys ended up. But it's not on TV, so it you could tell that's where they're sending people who they think might be on the way out the door, because Mahal was in he was in the tournament. They peppered more WWE roster than NXT roster in the damn NXT heavyweight title tournament, and it came down to Seth Rollins and Mahal, and of course Rollins won, but Mahal was lingering, or not lingering, what's it, languishing?
Yes. Yes.
He was doing that, so him and McIntyre better start kissing Slater's ass, because he had to put in a word there. Hey man, why don't you bring them two on up there? We'll have a 3MB. I might have seen that on that Impact show one time.
I got 1 minute. I want to ask this question of you real quick.
Well, I'm the only one on the air other than
in
you,
calendar year 2012, and I'll ask this of everybody in the BR chat room also. Ustream chat is up, ustream.tv/channel/beyond-ringside-live. Seeing Brooks Logan over there, Daryl B's over there, people listening through the Ustream feed. Don't forget, you can also listen live through beyondringside.com. Go to beyondringside.com. The player is over there. Also have a chat room.
But why would you?
No one knew. Mother fart. No annoying Ustream ads. See, I had to find. I was laughing so hard at a text message I just got. Calendar year.
Eddie, go home. You're drunk.
I'm drinking Coca-Cola without the crown. Screw me. But the thing about it is, in calendar year 2012, and I hate to say this. I hate to say this. I hate to ask this question. Was there a bigger bust than Tensai?
Oh, I can make a boob joke right there, but I don't. Bigger butt.
Yeah, I know.
Boobies. Oh my God, Tensai. Wait, are we talking just in WWE?
For now, 30 seconds.
Oh God,
You want to wait till later?
That is hard pressed to come up with that. Yeah. I mean, first they stripped him of the Lord part of his name, and then they stripped him of his, I farted, it tickled. Took away all his little outfit, and that sure looked like Quang. Anybody remember Quang?
Very well.
If you do, you get a cookie.
But you got to buy your own cookies.
Yeah, and then they took away Sakamoto, his Daishe or whatever.
Oh, I thought that's what you were talking about at first.
No, I was talking about his outfit.
Yeah.
Remember he had that.
I remember.
Yeah, but I mean, no. When he was coming out basically just in his red panties, remember he still had Sakamoto with him.
Yeah, he did.
And so, yeah, dude. I mean, he'll probably get cut.
Tell you what, yeah, probably. Tell you what, we're going to take it to the top of the hour break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by the multi-time National Wrestling Alliance Women's World Champion Tasha Simone, also one of the co-hosts on the To Be Determined show, which will be starting this Wednesday, more than likely, right here on BeyondRingside.com. Tasha Simone will be joining us right after the break. And by the way, Mabo, Ted Guinness said he heard that you said that he made a valid point, and he said you could suck it. And we'll be back on Beyond Ringside right after this.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck for Dave 2037 so he can buy anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman. What are you getting Steve 2037?
Steve 2037 will be just fine.
Well, okay, but don't expect to borrow my anti-gravity boots.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is Awesome Austin Creed, the smartest man in this industry called pro wrestling, the valedictorian of this business. You are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face to face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting, so why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstopwrecks.org.
This is Gabe Sapolsky from Dragon Gate USA and Evolve Pro Wrestling, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hey, what's up? Holla at ya, boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Jim Cornette. You are locked into the show of all time, Beyond Ringside.
Remember when your neighbor found us naked in the car, and the time some outdoor action got us kicked out of the bar, getting frisky in the dark. I gave your eye a poke. Think the dog is in the bed too. I smell smoke. You and me, we never give up. You and me, we never ever ever give up. The whipped cream that we bought, dressing in the kitchen, then getting caught. So many things can go wrong, but we still can get it right. You and me, we're not gonna give up tonight.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices and put the bogus myths to bed at bedsider.org. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
I'm Paul Ellering, and you're locked into Beyond the Ringside.
Let me try.
Okay, just remember what I showed you.
Yep, there was a bunny who had one big ear and another big ear. They looped-a-looped, made a bow, and the bunny hopped away. I did it!
Oh, good job, kiddo. Now let's tie your other shoe.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, this time is for real.
Hold on.
We were teaching. You haven't what?
I don't have a word yet.
Welcome back into Beyond Ringside Live Sunday nights. 6 minutes after the top of the hour. Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman would like to welcome in special guest at this time for this. We're doing a live best of show, and I'm really kind of digging it. So many different directions we can go. We have a hard enough time going one direction, much less going in multiple directions. And there's a cute one-liner somebody could say. Tasha Simone, welcome to the family. How you doing?
I am doing great, and it's nice to be on the air with my Alabama family tonight for the last show of 2012.
Putting wraps on a lot of things from calendar year 2012, and you have had a topsy-turvy year all into yourself in more ways than one. From what I have been able to dissect and discern, you've been working in a number of different states over calendar year 2012, some brand new areas for you. Had a minor setback earlier this year that, if things do work out, hopefully will be corrected PDF and Q. But I'll let you go ahead and take the reins on that one. Some of the highlights for the calendar year for Tasha Simone.
Well, the biggest highlight of my year, and I'm just going to break it out, and anybody who disagrees with me you can kiss my gluteus maximus, because I know this is a PG-rated program.
You can say ass.
I had the freaking wrestling match of the year with Pandora. A 58-minute, no-hold-barred, balls to the wall, beat the hell out of each other match for the NWA Women's title. There is nobody that can argue with me that I will let win in this situation. It was the freaking wrestling match of the year. I know that all of the sheeple who watch WWE and TNA will definitely argue with me, but you cannot argue with the fence post. You will lose.
Oh, and you mentioned the word. Let me get this in real quick. I have been very remiss about not making the reference. Wicked Nemesis this week is on with a family situation, and as everybody knows, family comes first with me. So, of course, Wick, you're always in our thoughts, brother. And if you get everything wrapped up, you know the number. It's that damn easy. Tosh, go ahead.
Absolutely. I have seen the highs and the lows of Simply Perfection this year, as everybody knows. I'm not just a member of the team. I am a booking agent for both Eric Andrews and Derek Neal. This past Friday night, I made my debut on one of the newest NWA promotions for their television taping, Southern All-Star Wrestling, which is located right here in the Nashville area in Millersville, Tennessee, at the world-famous Sawmill. And I saw Eric Andrews, my Simply Perfection teammate, and Chris Michaels take the tag team titles. It will air tonight on CW58 for anybody who's in the Nashville area, and you can check it out at www.southernallstar.com if you cannot get CW58 in your area. I can also say that it was confirmed in 2012, so I'll take it as one of my accomplishments. Eric the Dragon Andrews is scheduled to face the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Tokyo Monster Kahagas, on February 9th in Lebanon, Tennessee. I pride myself on the fact that I'm a pretty solid booking agent as well as a wrestler. And then there's this little bimbo running around who has totally decimated what the women's world title means, Miss Casey Carlisle. And if anybody's stupid enough to put me in the ring with her in 2013, I will end her wrestling career. And of course, everybody gets to hear me every Wednesday night on the To Be Determined show, spouting off what I think is wrong with wrestling and how to fix it. And every once in a while, I get to visit you guys, and y'all get to see the nice side of me.
Yes, I have seen multiple sides of Tasha Simone.
That's not always a good thing to brag about.
Oh, no. Because see, like I said, on this show you carry in one direction. On TBD you carry in a different direction. You're a little now for those who have not had a chance to listen to the To Be Determined show, we go uncensored, and that's an understatement. Which I would actually enjoy the opportunity for Mabo to come on TBD sometime. Really, just let him let it rip would be the best way to do it. And I'm not referring to fart jokes right now, Mark. Did you ever find what you were looking for, Mabo?
I did found it, and I've done moved it now because you didn't give me a chance to sing.
I was
and
going.
This is Tasha's time. This is not the Mabo singing hour. So we will let Tasha handle her business, and then we will get back to me singing. So.
Actually, Tasha said she would sing backup for you on that one, and I was.
This is Tasha's time.
Oh, and I do have to say this, and Matt Denton, if you were listening, I know that you're going to kick my ass. I know that you are, and you can fix it as soon as we can work everything out. But I have officially, just before I called on to be on Ringside, launched TashaSimone.com. So everybody make sure when you log on to the internet that you check out my new site. Do not laugh at it because I will pile drive you into oblivion. If you have any photos that you would like to add to it, please, by all means, email them to me, TashaSimoneNWA@gmail.com. And promoters, it's time to start contacting me to book myself and Eric Andrews for your 2013 shows, because we will bring a higher level of talent to you.
Now, believe it or not, I've still got some photos I don't think you have even seen, because when I was up in the Crow's Nest back in the early show, the first time that you faced Pandora up at Top Rope, I was able to get some photographs on my phone. Now, I admittedly remember I'm using an Android phone, and y'all were in full speed action in the ring, and unfortunately sometimes there is some blurring on some of the shots. But I'm actually going to try to, I'll get your email address off air if you want to DM me on Twitter or shoot me a text, either one. I'll go ahead and send some of those up your way, and if there's some that you feel that you can use, you're more than welcome to them.
I appreciate it. And also, for those who are foolish enough not to listen to me on Wednesday nights, I don't publicize it a lot, but I have started training again. Not for myself. Everybody knows that I'm in Gold's Gym at least 4 days a week. But what I have started doing is training up-and-coming wrestlers again. I don't play around. My training is called Thursdays, Throwback Thursdays. And if anybody is very serious about becoming a professional wrestler, because I don't train entertainers, and if you want to be an entertainer, I can definitely point you in the right direction for that as well. I teach wrestlers because, as I have said on every episode of Beyond Ringside I've been on, as well as every episode of the To Be Determined show that I've been on, I believe that professional wrestling fans want professional wrestling again, and it's time that we as professional wrestlers start putting wrestling back in the wrestling ring. That's the way I train, and I am up and open for taking new students now. But my current students will tell you I am not easy to work with, and I will throw you out if you are not working hard.
There's a question that I want to ask, and I know we're keeping this kind of light all the way through the episode this evening, but there's one serious question that I want to ask. Looking back, and you can encompass and include the nationally televised promotions, and you can take it all the way down to the regional and the local promotions. Has 2012 been a year that you have seen the art of politicking taken to a new level, or has it actually dropped back this year, Tosh?
No. The politics in professional wrestling, and I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say this and piss some people off, particularly with the NWA, which everybody knows that I sing the praises of and will continue to, because I absolutely believe in the NWA. As the saying goes, our traditions build legends. But right now, the political structure is out of control. And I think that the political structure of professional wrestling in general is taking away from a lot of talent. And I see it not only on the national level, but like I said, I see it also in the NWA, which is considered an independent promotion now. And I will say, without naming names or talking specifically about the whole situation, I am very impressed by the booker and the owner and promoter of SAW Wrestling that I made my debut for on their television taping Friday, because they were put in a situation they were basically told by another member of the roster, as he was trying to strong arm them, if Tasha works here, I won't. And their response was, Tasha is professional. She causes no problems. If you feel that way, would you at least be professional enough to finish up your matches that have been already scheduled? And I give them huge props for that, because there are a lot of promoters who would have fallen to the strong arm tactic. And for that, I'm thankful that I am starting to see, and I've seen Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, of course, in action. Mad Dog doesn't deal with a lot of politics and BS either. He tries to put on the best possible wrestling card for his fans. And I'm very pleased to be a part of an organization at this point that is backing away from the politics and just trying to give the fans what they want, and that's professional wrestling. I was very impressed.
Mabo, come on in with Tasha.
Now, Tasha, you work a lot of shows. You're on a lot of, as Wiggy would say, a lot of events when he's on there. What has been some of the better ones, or some ones that really stood out to you that might not have showed, that the listeners might not have been able to see because it's not on a nationally televised event, or it's not on an iPay-per-view or whatever? What have been some of the better matches that you have seen in the 2012 year?
Some of the better matches that I've seen, wow. I'm going to name two in particular, both with my Simply Perfection partner. One of them was when we went to GCW for Mad Dog Dan Sawyer down in Pell City, Alabama. Eddie was there. He can attest to this. Eric Andrews and O'Hagan got a standing ovation from the crowd. It was an incredible match. They were balls to the wall the whole time. I think they had the entire house on their feet most of the time, and most of the guys in the back as well. The other match that, to me, that didn't involve me as far as a participant in the ring, that was truly impressive to me, was Eric Andrews and Sean Tempers. And the reason that was so impressive to me, first of all, Sean Tempers showed a great deal of respect and professionalism to Eric Andrews as a competitor. He wrestled as hard as he possibly could. That being said, Eric Andrews had torn his MCL 2 weeks prior to the match and was not even supposed to be in the ring. He was wearing a knee brace from his ankle to his hip and went in the ring, and you would have never even known he was injured until he got to the back and laid down on the locker room floor. He never let up, and for that reason, because people forget, they remember the word fake being thrown into professional wrestling. What they tend to forget is that we wrestle hurt often, and for somebody to go in the ring and give 210% injured, barely even able to walk most of the time, and wrestle somebody the caliber of Sean Tempers was very impressive to me.
I can think of one other match right off the top of my head that I heard nothing but rave reviews about, and that was
Eric Neal and Kevin Douglas.
You're doggone right.
And it was an absolutely intense, impressive wrestling match, and yes, I do agree. But for those who have seen Kevin Douglas in action, and for those of you who haven't, if you haven't, go on YouTube, watch some of his matches.
Yes.
I think of all of the matches Kevin Douglas had in 2012, that is the one he has bragged about and talked about the most as the most highly competitive. And he and Derek Neal went in the ring and did their thing.
And the crowd at Top Rope up in Lebanon got a special treat that night. I remember hearing a lot of talk about that match. Now, taking what Mark said, taking what Mabo said in a slightly different direction, with some of the shows that you've worked this year, especially second half of the year, who would, as a trainer, much less as a champion and professional, who are some of the faces and the names that are jumping out to you that you've seen in person that are going to be stars to watch in 2013?
Well, some of them are old school names. They're not really new names. Some of them are going to be people that are up and coming. I will say this, having seen O'Hagan work I think that he is definitely somebody for fans to watch. For fans outside of Alabama, I hope that he gets out of the state a little more because he definitely has a lot of talent. I would say the headliner Chris Michaels, who some are familiar with, some are not, former OVW trainer, is making a huge comeback and impact on professional wrestling. He is actually starting to make a name in the NWA. And of course, I can't push enough, and it's not just because he's my partner. Eric Andrews is one of the hardest working professional wrestlers that I've ever seen to not get noticed more than he has. As far as younger wrestlers, I would absolutely tell anybody, if you see the name Kerry Awful or Nick Iggy on a wrestling poster anywhere near you, spend the gas money, spend the ticket, because these kids are putting their heart and soul into what they do. Very impressive. They have a good, strong work ethic. They're not afraid to sweat a little. They're not afraid to throw up when they're training. And they want to be professional wrestlers. And when they get in the ring, they're not happy if they haven't given the fans 3 times their money's worth.
Mabo.
Yes.
Come on in.
No, you go ahead.
I thought you had more than one question.
No, I blanked on it, so go ahead and go ahead.
It's okay. Live on a Sunday night beyond Ringside, Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman being joined by the multi-time NWA Women's World Champion, the Queen of the Pile Driver, La Reina del Pile Driver. And I don't think I should have trilled the R, but you know something? I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah. Bowman gives me crap about that, even when I don't. It's not a Spanish or a French pronunciation, and I'll still go ahead and trill the R.
Tasha, you do it with any, like I said, you do it with an Asian name, a freaking German name. It doesn't matter. If it's a foreign name, he's got to go or try to make it sound like he reminds me of a Saturday Night Live sketch where they sat there, everything that had, was just, even though it was English, had like a Spanish influence. They had to, like, oh, what do you want? I would have a tortilla. That's what Eddie does. He tries to make everything. He tries to be Lillian Garcia.
Oh, I would like to make Lillian Garcia. I would love to make her.
Well, you try to be seriously. The only thing holding you back, is she has better dresses in her closet than you do.
No, I didn't say I want to be her. I just said I want to be with her.
No, and I said that you try to be, so.
Nah, I could never pull off the go-go boots. They're just too high on the calf.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I will say this. I have seen you in go-go boots. That's the only thing that works for you.
You liar.
Of course, with you being so short, when you just put on a regular pair of cowboy boots, that becomes go-go boots. So.
Yeah, those become hip boots.
And you're still a damn sexy man for wearing it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going at 24 minutes at the top of the hour there, and with us is the thing, and the Tasha Simone is the champion. She should have the belt back, but she doesn't, and that's not fair. And I blame Hollywood, California.
Actually, I can't blame Hollywood for this one. Hollywood wouldn't be even in the equation.
I blame Kim Kardashian for this.
That's
Kim Kardashian.
Stop
I
it.
I blame Obama.
Oh, shh, dude. You trying to get us thrown off the air?
Yeah, there goes that internet fairness doctrine.
Look, man, I'm not going to get
What internet fairness doctrine?
They're supposed to be working on an internet broadcasting fairness doctrine for those who have webcasts, radio shows on the air, on the internet. To which I got one thing to say. Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Oh, does that mean I can't blame Obama?
I don't care. Blame him if you want to.
The views and concerns of Tasha Simone do not reflect solely on those of Beyond Ringside or anyone affiliated with it. So, Secret Service, please don't shoot me in my sleep or when I'm awake.
They'll shoot you in the butt.
Oh, dude, there's enough meat back there; it wouldn't matter. They could take a couple of, ow. Still,
we've got to find a way to get Mabo up to Tennessee sometime.
Absolutely.
Now,
I'm banned in Tennessee.
No, you're not.
No, you're banned in Paducah.
Look, what happens in the Kentuckys stays in the Kentuckys, okay?
It's the only time in history Mark's actually tried to smoke grass, and it was bluegrass.
No.
Wow.
When I say it stays in Kentucky, I mean hopefully, that may or may not allegedly be my son. They got to keep it in the basement and chained up, but I love Little Sloth. Anyway, Tasha Simone, we're going at 5 minutes till halfway through the hour, and ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by a former NWA Women's World Heavyweight Champion, Tasha Simone, and she's got a website and some stuff and some things. Tasha, what has been the most delicious meal you've had on the road in 2012?
On the road?
On the road again?
Oh, wow. IHOP? Oh, that wasn't 2012. No, I can't count that one. Where the hell did we go when we went to NWA Smoky Mountain? That was pretty good. Oh, yeah, that was Waffle House, and it was because I was cold and starving that it was so good. Always my best food I eat at home. Yeah, and that was up by Knoxville, Tennessee. It was pretty good, though. Mostly because I was cold and tired and a little tipsy, but it was okay.
Well, speaking as one who as one who doesn't consume alcohol, but still, Waffle House, regardless, is delicious.
You know, I have to bring this one up because I remember when we had Christy Ritchie on, and Wicked Nemesis was very quick to ask about what is her, you know, the Christy Ritchie drinking stories and all that, and Christy turned it back on Wicked.
Oh, God.
The night that the two of you teamed up in Lebanon, I do have to ask, what happened at the post-show party?
There wasn't one. Well, let me rephrase that. Christy didn't go. She had her daughter with her. I have to tell everybody that's heard all of the bad Christy Ritchie stories, she is a mommy now. She has grown up. She has matured. I know that's going to disappoint a lot of people, but she is one hell of a mom.
And still one hell of a in-ring performer, for what I've been told.
You know, she and I made a pretty dadgum good team for people who like to beat the crap out of each other.
Question, does that mean that we might see would y'all get it together and do it again in 2013 if the situation calls?
It has already been mentioned to us, and Christy, just like myself, is a former NWA Women's World Champion. It has been mentioned that the NWA would be very interested in Christy and I throwing our hats in the ring for the NWA Women's World title. Now, can I guarantee that will come, tag titles?
Thank you.
Now, can I guarantee that will come to fruition? No. But it has definitely been mentioned.
I think
and I will say this, if we throw our hats in the ring, ladies, any of you who think that you can beat myself and Christy Ritchie, if you thought we were violent, beating the hell out of each other, you can only imagine the violence that we perpetrate in the ring as a team. And Tiffany Rocks and her tag team partner Roxy, together known as the Rockettes,
right,
found out very, very quickly that just because they have been a tag team for a very, very long time does not mean that they will always come out on top. Because Christy and I know each other so very well in the ring, we were like, as the saying goes, a well-oiled machine.
Message to the fans heading into 2013 from Tasha Simone.
Message to the fans. If you see my name or that of any member of Perfection on any billboard or poster, make sure you check it out, because you're going to see professional wrestling at its best. I intend on bringing wrestling back to the wrestling ring, just like I've been doing in 2012. Everybody that I work with does the same thing, and I guarantee you that you will more than get your money's worth. And for fans of Casey Carter, I absolutely intend to damage her permanently before the year 2013 is over.
Where can everybody find you on the social networks?
You can find me at TashaSimone.com on the internet now. I'm so happy, Matt Denton. I'm sorry, do not cuss me out for it not looking as awesome as it will when you get done with the website, but it needed to be published soon because my fans are starving to get more Tasha Simone online. You can also find me on Twitter.com at Twitter.com at Tasha Simone, NWA. For booking information, tights information, or any questions that you want to ask, you can email me, TashaSimoneNWA@gmail.com. I'm also found on Facebook, and of course, every Wednesday night on the To Be Determined show, which can now be found on BeyondRingside.com.
Other than in the next couple of weeks, where are you going to be real quick?
Next Friday night, I will be at the Sawmill, Millersville, Tennessee, Old Louisville Highway. Bell time 8 o'clock. Doors open, I believe, at 6:30, and we're going to be raising hell like we do everywhere else. Next Saturday night, I will be in Lebanon, Tennessee, at the Wilson County Fairgrounds for NWA Top Rope. As a matter of fact, every Friday night in January, I will be at the Sawmill. And also on January 26th, we will be in Lebanon, Tennessee, doing a fundraiser for the Blue Devil amateur wrestling team at the high school there. Cool. I'm pretty excited about that one because one of our fans from Top Rope is actually a member of the wrestling team. So that's going to be pretty exciting as well.
Very cool. Always glad to have you in. You know the door is always welcome. Call in anytime.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen, multi-time National Wrestling Alliance Women's World Champion, the one, the only, the Queen of the Pile Driver, Tasha Simone, right here on Beyond Ringside. And when we return, familiar voices. Brooks Logan, Paulie Wells, right here as the best of 2012 continues on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Listen up, this is the NWA North American Heavyweight Champion, the Temptation Sean Tempers, and right now, you are locked in with Beyond Ringside.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
This is Ben Masters locking it down with Beyond Ringside. Don't miss it. Be there.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I don't know how to talk like a parent. Don't make me come back there. You see what I mean? It's pretty awful. Try it again. Don't make me come back there. Now that's pretty good. That one kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is GCW's Senior Official Bernie Kowanowitz, and you are locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is Joe Perry and Steven Tyler of Aerosmith for Red. You know, it's okay to rock and roll and party down. Just don't get in that 2,000-pound bullet when you're done and cocked. And please don't drink and drive. I'm the one that jaded you.
A reminder that friends don't let friends drive drunk. A public service message brought to you by the Ad Council, U.S. Department of Transportation, National Association of Broadcasters, and RAD.
This is Bad Brad Armstrong, part of the famous Armstrong family of professional wrestling, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
You must be your fairy godmother. Yes.
It doesn't take a fairy godmother to tell you that the right fit means everything.
Good heavens, child. You can't go in that.
Children under 4'9" need to be in a booster seat because they aren't ready for adult safety belts alone. Remember that 4'9" is the magic number, and get your little pumpkin there safely in a booster seat.
Oh, thank you.
For more information, visit boosterseat.gov. This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Charlie.
Hey, did you see that play last night?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and they still lost.
Sure.
You know, when I was playing, what we tried to...
You played in the street.
I played in the service. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is the kid, he should have...
Yeah, Hey, you okay?
I don't...
Someone call 911!
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke, but you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to diabetesactnow.org. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey parents, introducing the Communicizer. Go from boring old man speak.
Oh, you know, I'm here if you want to talk.
To 100% off the chain.
Text me whenever, yo.
I love you, Dad.
Communicizer is not available in stores because it doesn't exist. But that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Emily Richards for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. One person's negligence shattered my life in a single instant. You see, my little sister Annie was killed by a drunk driver. Please, remember those you love. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
My name is Mary Crafts, and this is how I live united. I spent the last 24 years serving others in my catering company, but I felt that a huge part of our community was still being underserved. Those invisible children and young families. With United Way, I advocate for them any way I can. As a volunteer, I go into people's homes and assess mother and infant well-being and help bring change and opportunity into their lives. Nothing feels as good as helping, so I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Drew Brees, NFL quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, here with Bugs Bunny to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you fuel your body and your mind.
So what do you like to throw around the football like Drew?
Skateboard, ride a bike, or dance in your room.
Just move it your way.
And be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
As a mother, I'm making it a point.
The roller coaster ride continues, and I've made this threat before. One of these days, I'm just going to go ahead and say we're going to broadcast the entire uncut, uncensored edition of this thing, including what happens off air. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside, 22 before the top of the hour, Fast Steady Lane, live in the control center. Mark Bowman, Mabo, come on back.
Can I finally sing my song now?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free, O Canada, blah, blah, whatever.
If I could be serious...
You hold on, big finish, you ready? O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. That was beautiful.
Mabo, America voted. You are safe.
From never being on American Idol ever.
Pretty much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep this thing going. I'd like to welcome in Beyond Ringside alumni. You know them, you love them. I'm damn glad to have them back on air. Brooks Logan, how you been doing?
Hey, I tell you what, Owen Hart
is smiling down from the heavens right now after that rendition of "Oh Canada." Bret Hart is also smiling. Bret Hart is also smiling, but Bret Hart's also smiling, but it's only half of his face.
Still too soon.
Well, I've missed you guys. I'll tell you that.
Paulie Wells, come on. Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
No, I'm just glad to be back for tonight's best of 2012.
And Paulie Wells, come on back in.
What's going on, gentlemen?
I figured Paul would come and sing
let's
the
see. I am celebrating day 3 of our Redneck Beer Fest out in the middle of the woods. If you could see me now, I have a beer in one hand, my phone in the other, and I'm standing between a church and a house. That thing is, church is in session, so hopefully they don't come out.
Hey, look, you could always start. Ooh, that would be a good idea for a reality show. Hey, TLC, if you put on Honey Boo Boo, you can have Redneck Communion. Brought to you by Bud Light. Here we go. All right. That was my UFC reference for the week. Other than the fact that...
There you go.
And if you met... Oh, boy. I'll get into that a little bit later on. Last night, Dos Santos, Cain Velasquez. Hell of a fight. First off, gentlemen, let me go ahead and ask the pertinent question. Y'all have had I know both of y'all have been keeping track of the major promotions. Y'all have had a chance to see some of the stuff going on with some of the localized promotions. Paul over in Mississippi, Brooks over here in Alabama. I know both of y'all have been y'all been flying completely out of control. I'm not out of control, but y'all have had a lot going on. But let me go ahead and ask Brooksy. I'll bring you in first. Some of your favorite moments on from calendar year 2012.
No, I have been flying out of control. Story of my life. 2012, I'll be honest with you, man, this has been such a crazy year for me. As Mabo said during the break, knocked someone up. Got a little baby girl on the way. Working and all that, been chaotic. Best of 2012, I don't know. I don't even know. I barely know that we're in 2012.
Actually, we're about to end 2012.
Yeah, about to be done with it, and I don't remember none of it. But CM Punk holding on to his title for as long as he has, that's, you know, in this day and time, that's pretty damn good, you know. TNA still hanging around. I guess that's, I don't know if that's good or not, because they keep having so many chances and they continue to screw themselves into the ground. But local promotions, I haven't gotten. I got to see ACW, I guess, the rise and fall within the calendar year. But their little run that they had was good, and I enjoyed it. Going to watch them, and other than that, man, I really don't know. I really don't. Like I said, it's been so hectic for me. I haven't been able to keep up like I like.
And of course, you've got the entire heel section surrounding you. Everybody from Max Power, Wally Wad, Clay Burton, Josh Hand, Drew Wojcik, Charlie, the entire fun bunch, right?
There's no doubt. I mean, I am the most hated man in Alabama professional wrestling, and I'm not even a wrestler, a referee, a manager. I'm just a guy that goes to the shows. And I heard Tasha Simone placing blame on Barack Obama and others for her not having her world title, and she can go ahead and blame me for that too. I'll spread my love up to the Tennessee area.
Oh no, she likes you.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, hey, listen, if you want to throw blame at me, go ahead. Everybody else does. All from here to the Outlaw Wrestlers over in Georgia, got them hating me. But no, for real, definitely got to get back. Them guys call it wrestling season. Wrestling season's all year round for me, as you know. But got to get. I definitely want to get back in to go into the local shows with those guys. So you never know where the hill section might end up. I'll tell you that. But I can guarantee somebody will be mad when we get there.
Paulie Wells, come on in. Some of your favorite moments of 2012.
I would have to say 4-H was my favorite moment, and you probably don't know what I mean by 4-H, but I will explain. Hunter Hearst Helmsley's haircut. That was probably the biggest surprise I've ever seen. I really honestly thought he would never cut his hair. But when he came out to accept his Slammy, You guys, I'm sure, saw that.
Oh yeah.
And I honestly, I mean, it looks good, but I was just like, wow, I never would have expected. I mean, that's not a really big moment in wrestling, but yeah, I agree with the Punk keeping the title as long as he has. He's really shaking it up the way it needed to be, kind of bringing the hardcore feel back, which is good. It definitely needed that. I'm honestly to the point where I'm kind of tired of the tag team thing. I am the tag team champions. I think they've kind of run that into the ground. But other than that, I'm kind of, you know, I've been way out of it. I haven't been to any local promotions other than work and spending time with family. You know, I watch it on TV when I get a chance. TNA, I just honestly, most of the storylines bored me to tears. I kind of just gravitated away from there. So, but I have been watching a lot more UFC lately. So, you know, I kind of took it in on that end, and yeah, I mean, it's been a good year. Looking forward to next year's WrestleMania. I guess they still don't have an idea of who's going to be in it, but Triple H, the night of the Slammies, did kind of give it away when he said that The Undertaker will be coming back. So I think that Undertaker will be at WrestleMania. The question is, and I was going to ask you this question, who do you think he's going to fight?
I'll defer to Mabo right off the bat.
And usually when he does, it just means it's because he doesn't have an answer.
Oh, I have an answer.
Well, then what is it?
Brock Hogan.
Nah, she's, you know, doing jobs for other people, if you know what I'm saying.
Or Lesnar.
Let's see. If we're taking Punk out of the title picture at the Royal Rumble,
which is going to open up the door for Punk Austin at Mania.
No, it's not going to be Punk Austin.
I think it is.
Get your head out of your ass. It's not a hat. I'm going to say Punk Taker.
Okay.
Ooh.
Brooks, your thoughts?
I have no idea. Who did you say? Brock Hogan?
That was Mabo's nickname for Brooke Hogan's, Terry's daughter.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't have a clue. I can't think of anything. You know, surely not Triple H again. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did try to do something with Lesnar. I'm just trying to figure out which direction they're going to go in.
That's what I was about. You know, I was about to ask. What's Lesnar's status with WWE? Is he? I mean, you know, I saw him come back, but then he left. And
I thought he left. Yeah, the last I heard, he wasn't even under contract anymore.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. I think that would be awesome if they get Lesnar to come back to go against Taker. When I watched Brock Lesnar against Triple H and his other matches on his returns, this is just me being a fan, but he almost looks unsafe in there. He reminds me of Ultimate Warrior. Now, when Lesnar was actually doing his wrestling when he first came in years ago, he wasn't the safest guy in there, but when he comes in like he's an MMA fighter in a wrestling match, the things that goes on, it looks totally unsafe to me, and I don't know if it's by design or not, but God, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with that guy if I was wrestling. He's scary to watch, just how reckless he is. And that's, to me, and like I said, that's a fan point of view, and it may be designed to look like that, I don't know. But when he returned, man, he just looked so dangerous in the ring.
I'll agree. He looked like
but I think someone like The Undertaker, you know, can handle that, no problem.
You know what? I'm going to throw something out here to you guys, and I'm sure you'll probably disagree, but the way that they are working this guy up, I mean, you can tell by the fanfare and everything they've done since he's been introduced that I honestly think they're trying to make him the face of the franchise. He needs to work on his mic skills a little bit, but I would not be surprised to see Undertaker and Ryback. I would not be surprised, because the way they're pushing him right now, no big surprise. The only thing is, well, we're coming up on January. What did that be, about like 4 months to build up some kind of story to it? So, I mean, 3. I have a feeling if they're going to do something like that, then Undertaker's going to have to start making some appearances very, very soon. But that's just my idea.
Normally, I think they've got him slated to come back after Rumble, because he normally starts making appearances. The vignettes start occurring just before the Royal Rumble, and that'll put him for a February return to television, which will be right on target. Because remember, over the last couple of years, they've normally invested anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks in the build-up for his matches, whether it be with Flair, whether it be with Shawn, whether it be with Tripp. And so that would put them right at that perfect window, because there's the schematic in play where if you keep him in the public eye for too long, people want that much more. But if you go ahead and do the teasers and do the build-ups and then the lightning strike and the bell tolls, then kaboom, and you have that window of opportunity for everything to fall into place. They've pretty much managed to do that, I'd say, the last 5 years running. So I think it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, the Ryback thing, I don't know if they would go Ryback Taker. I think Ryback is on a rocket right now, but for the most part, do they run the risk of squashing, because any kind of heat, any kind of buildup that they've got for Ryback by putting him with Taker, because you know that even they're not going to sacrifice. I hope they don't sacrifice the streak to somebody like Ryback. I've made my.
How about John Cena?
I don't even think it'd be John Cena. I think even Cena realizes there are some things that should be benchmark, like Flair in the number 16 and Taker going for 21. Mabo, your thoughts?
No, it's not going to be Cena. Cena's going to take the belt off Rock at Mania this year. You know, regardless, I don't know who they're. I don't know if they're going to even try to go one more year. I mean, God, just this one time a year thing now is just getting annoying. And I mean, it's not his fault. You know, he's old. He's, you know, things aren't working like they used to. But instead of doing the one time a year freak show thing, just go ahead and step away. Hell, you're already gone as it is. You're going to show up, you know, maybe at Rumble, do something. Then you got what, Elimination Chamber in February, and then March, April, depends on when's Mania this year, March or April.
I think it's April 4.
Okay, so
they don't even have 4 months.
No, they
don't even have 4 months to build this up. They got like 3 months.
It's
right?
either March 31st or April 7th.
Yeah, because Mania is usually at the end of January.
End of March.
Rumbles is usually at the end of
January.
So, yeah, you've got like he might do something. He won't probably even wrestle. Just show up half the time. Maybe if he does a match, it'll be a Raw. So I'm just going ahead and saying, look, man, give him a send off. You know what? Induct him this year and have him do 21-0.
Blackjack.
And then that's it.
Blackjack.
I'm not opposed to that idea at all. I'm not a big fan of coming back for a couple months, or 2 months out of the year. If you're done, be done with it. And I don't know how much of that is his idea. If him still wanting to hang around, or it is hard to say whose idea it is, who's behind it. What's going to happen if he does do Mania again this year is, with such a short window of him coming in, it's going to have to be probably somebody he's already had a history with and can pick back up on a storyline. Maybe somebody like Kane, maybe somebody like Big Show.
You saw my post.
I think if Ryback had been around longer, he's pretty much a newcomer, even though he's been around as other people. But as Ryback, he's not been around that long. Like I said, the way to go, if it was me doing it, go ahead and line him up with somebody he's got a history with, a past with, and build off something, a storyline in the past. I think that's really the only way, because like y'all said, it's almost, we're not far away, just a few months from Mania. So.
Right. Then let me ask this question of all three of you real quick, and I'll give you a minute each to respond. We're going at 5 minutes before the top of the hour, beyond Ringside Live Sunday night. Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman, Brooks Logan, Paulie Wells, cool. Wicked Nemesis, out with the family tonight, and everybody knows family comes first. We make the reference to Taker coming back in January and doing the appearances all the way through Mania. What is worse, in your opinion? Taker coming back for the first half of the year and going through Mania to try to help them build buy rates for their biggest show of the year, or Ric Flair after he retired from this business, smirk, smirk, wink, wink, giggle, giggle, and then starts doing stuff in TNA where he'll bleed at the drop of a hat, and did that for an extended period of time. Mabo, you're up.
Oh, did we not cover this last week?
Yeah, but I'm asking what's worse, Taker coming back from Mania or Ric Flair making a mockery of the send-off?
Oh, Ric Flair, for crying out loud, is much worse. At least Taker knows how to stay on script or freaking, not just going to business for himself. Flair's delusional old child molesting ass. Oh, God, and I know...
They never proved that.
Well, you know what? They never proved that Chase Pearson was a man, but still.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, but still. I mean, and I know, Brooks, you're a Horseman fan, and I'm not trying to poop on your idol there, but Ric Flair died 10 years ago.
Technically.
I don't know who this wrinkly, delusional, horse-faced, giant nostril nut bar that's running around. I don't know who the hell that is. So anything involving Flair right now is just garbage, pure garbage.
I want to remind everybody that coming up just after the top of the hour, we're going to be rejoined by a good friend of the family, MMA reporter Vicki Jackson will be here, and she's got a very special guest that's going to be coming on at 7:15 Central. Brooks Logan, question to you, and your answer is?
Well, like Mabo said, I'm a Horseman fan and a huge Ric Flair fan, Mark, whatever. He's my favorite of all time. But what he has done ever since he quote-unquote retired and went to TNA, he has made a mockery out of himself. And I hate to say it. And you guys know me and how I feel about Ric Flair. And I feel he's the greatest of all time, and he is by far my favorite of all time. He's made an absolute fool out of himself and even of the business, doing the garbage he's done. Now, I understand you've gone through 4 divorces, you got no money, you got to make money somehow, but telling him, like Mabo said, man, he's making a... This is not Ric Flair. What we have seen since TNA, that's not the Ric Flair that we know. It might as well be the Nature Boy Paul Lee out there doing this stuff. Apparently he's doing a better job with the Nature Boy gimmick than Ric Flair is. Sure hate Wick's out tonight and can't comment on that. But going on, I have to say, to the question, Ric Flair and what he's done is far worse than Taker coming back for a couple months. At least Taker's not making a complete ass and fool out of himself when he comes back. He's the same Undertaker he was 20 years ago. He's the same guy. He's the same character. He may look a little different from time to time, but he's still the same gimmick, still the same guy. Flair is it's almost like he just tries too hard. And I think that is the problem. He's trying too hard. When you're the greatest wrestler of all time, you just got to show up. You don't have to come in and do matches. You don't have to come in and bleed. You can come in and, what he did on WWE and gave the slammy out is far enough. That's, if you're going to show up, just show up and be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. You don't have to do especially what he did in TNA.
Paulie Wells, you get the last word.
I'm going to make this unanimous. Undertaker should be able to come back whenever the Undertaker wants. I mean, this is a guy who did more for the business, in my mind, than anybody, since Hulk Hogan. Ric Flair, wow, he was on WWE the other night during the Slammies. Actually, he was giving an award away. Ended up in an altercation with the Shield, and I'm sure you guys all saw this.
Oh, yeah.
Ryback comes out, and they have the woo moment, and he goes back and forth in the ring, and, it's just legacy damage to me. You know what I mean? You've already got the legacy. You've got people that are fans. Yeah, you come back, nostalgic moments, but I kind of relate that to the Hulk Hogan thing. I loved Hulk Hogan in the 80s, even the 90s, during the whole NWO thing, but he really burned out the crowd on it. You know what I mean? One minute he's Hollywood, the next minute he's the Hulkster. I don't know. Rick really needs to. And here's my thing. Why not, if you still want to be involved in wrestling, why not get involved with talent development or be behind the scenes? You know what I mean? That's usually what happens anyway with most of these guys. Yeah, I mean,
ego won't allow it.
Ego won't allow it. You're right.
Who won't allow it?
The ego.
Yeah.
Same with Hogan. They can't be behind the scenes. If they're going to be involved in it, they got to be on camera, and it's a shame. Their ego has gotten in the way of them and their legacy, like you said.
Gentlemen, I hate to do it, but we're up against the hard break, and I've got to go that way. Real quick, Brooks, where can everybody find you on the web?
Still on Facebook. You just put in Brooks Logan. There's not too many names. There's not too many of us out there, so you can find me on Facebook, Brooks Logan. I think it's facebook.com/Brooks Allen Logan. And Twitter is just @Brooks Logan. So same old. You can still catch me on both of those.
Paul, how can we find you?
Well, I'm still on Facebook, El Toro Brahma. I'm still on Twitter, Paulie Wells. I'm on there at Twitter, of course, @Paulie Wells. And of course, I'm at the Garden Center at Lowe's in Philadelphia about 5 days a week. So feel free to stop by. We got mulch on sale.
Hey, cool. I need a bag of that mulch for a special present I'm giving somebody later. No, actually, do me a favor. Hold it for me until next year. It should be really good.
Hey, and I'm going to have to go, guys. I'm glad I called in. I love you guys. Love the show. I'm going to try to check in a little bit more than I have been.
Good.
But yeah, I've got people showing up, so yeah, I'm going to have to roll.
Folks, we're headed for the top of the hour break, and when we come back, MMA reporter Vicki Jackson will be joining us with a very special guest right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Citizens of America, this is a message from feedthepig.org. Americans spent more money than they earned in 2005. This is the first negative savings rate in the U.S. since the Great Depression. America, we must start feeding the pig. On the 1st and the 15th, we must pay ourselves before we pay anyone or anything. We must make a budget. Even consider cutting up a credit card. Log on to feedthepig.org today. Find the benefits of saving for every stage of life. Brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is your boy, Miggity Mabo, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
There once was a boy wizard whose name was Larry Smarter.
Larry, why weren't you in Professor Dinky Doodle's mythical creature classification class?
Well, I'm taking Algebra 2 in a foreign language.
Oh, so you can talk to unicorns?
Not exactly, unless they're French.
Larry wanted to go to college, so he visited knowhowtogo.org to find the classes he really needed. Getting into college doesn't happen magically. Learn more at knowhowtogo.org.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
Hi, everybody. This is Jerry the King Lawler. That's right, the host of the #1 rated show in all of cable television, Monday Night Raw. That's right, Jerry the King Lawler, WWE Hall of Famer, Jerry the King Lawler, and I am locked into Beyond Ringside.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation, and we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hey people, this is the Machine Cuff Grayson, live and in your face. And remember, you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Welcome to the Maya and Miguel Challenge. Meet Maya and the gang.
Oh, hi, I'm Maya.
Maya and her friends want you to get up and play, because it's always more fun to be active.
Let's get started.
Just go to letsmove.gov and look for Maya and Miguel. You'll find tons of fun activities that'll help keep you healthy and active. Whether you play sports, run, dance, or jump in place, just get up and play at least an hour a day. Take the Maya and Miguel Challenge today at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Everybody out there, this is the Human Hand Grenade, Danny Only, 1/2 of the Hate Junkies, 1/5 of POD, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is Little Steven for Rad. We all got to party now and then, but we've got to let somebody else do the driving. Please don't drink and drive, and don't drive with somebody else who's been drinking. Thank you.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
of these days I'll remember how to put this damn headset on. Don't think so. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside Live Sunday night, 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern is where we are, and we roll live every Sunday night right here at BeyondRingside.com. The party continues. That's the only way to say it. Fast Eddie Lane, Mabo, come on back.
All right. Do we still have people in the chat room?
Looking over there now, and I think we've got 2 chat rooms running. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Everybody in the chat room, for the next break, I will let you pick the national anthem of any country in the world. You pick the national anthem. Eddie, you will take the consensus of what it is.
Okay.
And I will sing it when we come back at the 7:30.
I want the national anthem for Amazon Island.
Okay, look. This isn't the DC universe, okay?
Okay, cool.
And it's called Themyscira. Get it right. If you're going to be a nerd, get your nerd everywhere, okay?
Okay.
So, everybody in the chat room listening, Eddie, get a general consensus. Everybody in both chat rooms, get an idea of what you want.
Okie doke.
Eddie will pick it, and then I will sing it at the 7:30 break.
You got it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome in Beyond Ringside Extended Family, MMA reporter from around the Octagon and many other sources. Ladies and gentlemen, Vicki Jackson back in the house. Vicki, good to talk to you.
Hey, it's good to be back. It's been a little while since we chatted.
Yeah, I was actually trying to find a way to get you on when we had the special edition with David Elder, Matt Lavelle, and all the guys from the Strike Hard promotion here, and we were just in so many different directions that night, but definitely we've got a Strike Hard's got an event coming up on January the 12th in Tuscaloosa at the Killer Buzz Arena. Definitely looking forward to that, but before we get to a little bit more of that, and I've got a very special exclusive that we're going to break live here in just a few minutes. You know, you've had a chance to cover local mixed martial arts. You've seen some of the national scenes. I know you've been very big in Bellator, keeping an eye on Bellator as of late, and some of the other events that UFC's had on Fox. But, you know, this has been a tremendous year for the state of Alabama as far as mixed martial arts goes.
You know, I've been thinking about it for the past few years. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, we've done so many great things. I'm like, wow, we've done this, and we've done this, and we've done this, and oh, I can't forget about this. We've really been busy this year, and we've really accomplished a lot, and I've been really very pleased with the first year of the Alabama Athletic Commission. So, you know, I have no complaints, and I'm really looking forward to what they're doing next year.
Because you and I were at the Von Braun Civic Center, South Hall, when the first sanctioned Pro-Am in the state of Alabama took place with Sport Fight X, Adam Gibson Company.
Yes, you know, we've had a lot of firsts this year, Eddie. We had the first sanctioned amateur event with AXC. We had the first sanctioned Pro-Am event with Sport Fight X. Strike Cards had their first sanctioned Pro-Am event.
Right.
We've had just a lot of firsts. We've had a lot of first promotions in different cities. In Montgomery, they had their first Pro-Am event. We had a promotion down in Orange Beach. I mean, we've just had so many promotion in Phoenix City this year. Right here coming up in February, we've got a new promotion up in Huntsville coming up. I mean, we've had so many new great and wonderful things that, you know, it's just a lot of progress has been made. And I mean, there's just, I can't narrow it down to one thing. I'm like, oh man, I need to talk about this, and oh, this was great, and you know, this was like the highlight of the year, no this, and so it's just been a lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, we mentioned Sport Fight X. I had the honor and the privilege of working with them on 2 pay-per-views, both as a commentator and announcer in the cage, for which I'm eternally thankful to Adam Gibbs. Had a great show recently in Birmingham with Strike Hard Productions. They had SHP 20. Of course, they've been really big down at the Tuscaloosa market, working primarily out of the Killer Buzz Arena. They made their way into Birmingham for their first outing, for which I was really glad to hear about that. And you were making a reference to some of the newer promotions. Now, you've had a chance to cover a lot of fights, and I know asking you to pick, you could probably go back over and still be hard-pressed to pick even a top 10 for some of the fights. But if you, right off the top of your head, who have been some of your favorite fighters to watch here locally in the state of Alabama?
Wow. You know, well, at SHP 20, you had Walt Harris ticket for the main event, and that was really just like a phenomenal accomplishment because this is the first time, like, in 4 years that Walt's even fought in Alabama in front of, you know, his friends and family. And just to see him walk to the cage and step into the octagon was just a freaking miracle. And I was sitting there and I'm like, wow, this is really, really what we've been working on the whole time, is getting our home fighters here in our home state to do their thing so we can be there to clap for them and, you know, just praise them. I was thinking, I'm like, okay, what's the best fight I've seen so far? But one of the biggest fights that we've seen in this year has been the DJ Taylor fight and Cody Eason fight at Strike Art earlier in the year. That fight was just crazy. I mean, the fans in the whole Philadelphia arena were just like on their feet from the time both fighters walked out to the time they left the cage. And so that was like a major accomplishment, like a major big thing going on in Tuscaloosa. Well, we've just had so many great things going on. We had the first, we had like D-Mac up at Fort Fight X, who had a 27-second round one TKO up at Fort Fight X.
Right.
We've had just some really great things going on.
We've had fights that have ended in first round. We've had fights that have gone to the judges' table. We've had championships emerge. We've had champions emerge, and championships become more prevalent and prominent in the state of Alabama with a couple of different promotions. Of course, you've got to remember there are a lot of fighters that are on the horizon. Some may not be from Alabama, but they've made a big impact in Alabama this year. Fighters like Stephen Wilhite. Let's not forget about former University of Alabama great from the national championship team, Eric Anders, continues his quest in the amateur ranks. We've seen the reemergence of Fred Core, as I like to call, as his nickname was pinned here on Beyond Ringside, Fred Weaver. A good friend of ours that we all three know very well, and that would be Christy Isbell, her son Keaton Wood, making a very successful debut in Alabama after training in Georgia. Being able to come back home and fight, and Keaton's been on a really good run.
Oh, yeah, Keaton's been training with Childersburg MMA. And speaking of Childersburg MMA, you had the Chase Horton fight, Eric Anders fight at Strike Hard.
Exactly.
That was like a super badass fight there that night. I mean, there was just so many, and Childersburg has really started emerging as being one of the better gyms to train at here in the whole state. So, and we've got some really good ones. So, Childersburg is great, Spartan's great, Champions is great.
The Cage, yeah.
I mean, the Cage, they've been doing awesome things, but they're amateur fighters. So there's just, a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of good fighters coming up, and they're training hard, and, we've got some tremendous opportunities coming up next year, and it's just going to be an awesome year for MMA in Alabama in 2013. I just know.
Mabo, come on in with Vicki Jackson. Open floor. Within reason.
Be nice, Mabo.
I just want to know how come you didn't introduce me to your niece at the frickin' Zamora Shrine show.
I couldn't find, two reasons, Mabo. I couldn't find you, and I couldn't find her most of the time.
I was literally, if you would have looked over your right shoulder, you would have seen me. I was on the fourth row by the right, if you're looking at the left, but if you're facing the octagon, it would have been the right, where Walt and everybody came out on that side. I was fourth row right there up against the guard rope.
Well, unexpectedly, I wound up being the scorekeeper that night. And
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so, when I got there, I found out I was going to be doing that, and that's great and wonderful, and I got a seat right there. I can see what's going on. But let me tell you, they won't start the fights unless you're in your seat. So normally my little happy self is up running around, back in the dressing room, talking to the fighters, watching the fights from here or there. I had to visit and socialize with everybody. But that night I had to, stay in my seat. So if you didn't come up there and find me, I was, kind of stuck. And so you should have just said, hey, Vicki, here I am. And I'd have been like, yay, they won't let me go pee.
Actually, no, I do recall there was a couple times where they called for you guys to get back in your seats, and you weren't there. So don't sit there and try to say that you were there the whole time, because I was watching you.
Well, somebody had to. Oh, Mabo was stalking. There you go.
No, I wasn't stalking. I wasn't stalking. I'm just sitting there. She's talking about, I was there, but everybody else was not in their seat, and I blame them. No, No, there was, out of I think the 4 or 5 times that they called it, whenever we took intermission or whatever, I think it was like, what, 3 times?
It didn't seem like it was many times at all.
It was, dude, there was at least 3 times I know for a fact that you, out of the, let's say 3 times, out of the 3 times, 2 of them, you were not in your seat because I was watching. I was like, where'd you go? And I was trying to see if your niece was going to show up. So.
She did show up, I think, 1 time. But, I mean, like, I had to track her down. And, like, I'm going to the bathroom, and the ladies' bathroom is packed out, and people running out the back. And I'm like, man, they want me to hurry, and I can't even stand in line. And so then I, like, would have to run backstage, and then I'd have to be careful not to, go use the fighter's bathroom because sometimes they don't really notice that there's maybe a woman in their bathroom. And so... So I'm like, wait, I've got 5 minutes, I gotta hurry, and they ain't gonna start the fight till I get back to my seat, so just let me take care of business and I'll be good.
There you go.
Well, next time just take you like a milk jug or whatever, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Well, I don't know how good your aim is, so if you need to cut the top off of it, make it a little bit wider or whatever, because I don't know how chick
I'm a woman, we don't have aim, okay?
There you go.
Well, I know, dude, I know some women who can, hit a freaking soda bottle.
Maybo.
No problem. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm trying to help her out so she doesn't get in trouble.
Well, if she's going to get in trouble with anybody, it's probably going to be the gentleman who just called in.
I know. I hope he's not listening yet.
He heard every word you were just saying.
See me about thing.
Vicky, I'll let you do the honors on the introduction.
Well, like I said, we got some great things coming up in 2013. One of the awesome things that we have coming up is training for, if you want to be an MMA judge, an official or licensed State of Alabama Athletic Commission judge or referee. And I'm like so tickled that we have this training. Of course, we've got great people that have been in place this year serving the MMA community, but, we're going to have even greater and more great things coming up. So, we've got some training coming up, and this guy that we have that just called in is going to talk about it. Welcome to Brandon Owens with the Alabama Athletic Commission.
Mr. Owens,
hey, how y'all doing?
Great to have you on Beyond Ringside. It's a definite pleasure.
Can we not go into more about the hitting a soda bottle?
Yeah, we'll stop that part.
I was willing to stay on hold for another 30 minutes or so just to hear that conversation play out.
Trust me, with these two, it's liable to happen anytime. First off, now, let everybody know, for those who are not familiar and have not been able to keep track over the last couple of months, let everybody know your exact position with the commission.
I serve as the executive director for the Alabama Athletic Commission. We oversee mixed martial arts as well as boxing in the state of Alabama.
Yes, sir.
And we're the regulatory body.
They actually, the AAC handles the professional side and also works directly with, I believe, ISKA, as well as there is a second governing body for amateurs in the state, right?
That's correct. The way that everything is set up in Alabama is if there's a professional fight, the Alabama Athletic Commission will oversee it, and then if there is a amateur fight, people are licensed to enforce the rules for the state. Right now there are 2 promotions, ISKA and MMA Solutions, who are both based out of Florida, and they are the ones who oversee amateur MMA in this state.
Now, first off, we were at the opening of the segment. I don't know if you had a chance to listen before you called in.
I got in about 7 or 8 when I started listening, so okay. I might have missed something there.
Well, we were talking about some of the firsts that have taken place during calendar year 2012 in the world of both amateur and professional mixed martial arts here in the state. You've got some great companies that have made tremendous strides that are working hand in hand with the AAC and with MMA Solutions, with ISKA, and I just have a weird time saying ISKA, okay? For some reason, it sounds like I should be saying something else behind it that sounds either Polish or Irish or I don't know. But, with...
I worked with ISKA before I became an executive director, and I always heard them call it ISKA. I never heard anybody say ISKA.
I know a bunch of people who say it. I really do.
Yeah, like me. I'm an ISKA queen, yeah,
Now, I missed out on that.
Watching everything that has transpired over calendar year 2012, whether it be AXC, whether it be Sport Fight X, whether it be Strike Hard Productions, I mean, you've had a chance to see a lot of the great stars in the making, as well as the pros that are making their names even more prevalent here in the state of Alabama. How much of a smile do you have cross your face when you see a show where you see some of these great fighters in action?
Well, I mean, it's always great watching the show, and the crowds have really responded well. I thought we had two shows this month. One in Birmingham at the
Zamora Shrine.
What was it called, Vicky? The Shrine Lounge, the Shriners Center over there.
Yeah, the Zamora Shrine.
Yeah, and I thought the promoters, they were real happy with the turnout. They were actually surprised by how many people showed up, because that was not really a facility that a lot of people just knew where it was. In fact, I must have been like everybody else and had to put it in my GPS just to make sure I got there in the right place.
That second turn will get you.
What's that?
The second turn will get you.
Yeah. But we showed up, and it was pretty crowded there. So I mean, everybody seemed to be really happy about the turnout for that show. And then the show in Orange Beach we had on December 15th. That was also very well attended. So that was our Outlaw Promotions down in Orange Beach. They're a gym out of Foley. So we've had two great shows to end 2012 with, and I think momentum just both of those promotions trying to move pretty fast and having their second shows. Of course, Strike Hard's going to do one on January 12th, and I'm not sure when Outlaw's going to do their next one, but they're very happy about the turnout for those shows.
Yeah, and I'm actually speaking with Adam Gibbs with Sport Fight to see when their next outing's going to be. I've actually worked with Sport Fight on a couple of occasions. Yeah. I've done some of the cage announcing as well as some of the commentary on the play-by-play, shameless plug.
Right.
And from that vantage point, actually an exclusive, I've had the opportunity to speak with David Elder of Strike Hard Productions, and on Saturday night, January the 12th, when Strike Hard Productions returns for the swan song for the Killer Buzz Arena. We solidified the deal Friday night. I will be actually the special guest ring announcer inside the cage for Strike Hard 21. And
that's great.
It is a great honor and privilege. I want to thank Matt. I want to thank David for the opportunity, and I am genuinely looking forward to this. I've heard great things coming out of Strike Hard 20 over at the Zamora Shrine Temple, and if they can, and I've heard some great things coming out of the Tuscaloosa shows. I've seen some of the videos, and I'm really honored to be a part of Strike Hard coming up on January the 12th. Now, in addition to things happening with Strike Hard and some of the other promotions in the state, Vicky made the reference to it a minute ago, where we have an upcoming seminar for those who are into mixed martial arts who would like to find out if they have what it takes to be an official or a judge here in the state of Alabama, right?
Yeah, that's one thing that we've got to really build up is, we have a lot of people that want to judge, they want to referee, but sometimes they just don't have the skills for it. And it's nobody's fault. It's just that they haven't been properly trained. I mean, you don't exactly ask someone to go judge, referee a football game without any kind of training.
Correct.
And these guys train football referees, boxing referees. Everybody trains at least once a year. So we're going to go ahead and do a training on January 12th for referees and for judges, and we're going to just try to build up our bench, I guess you would say, as far as who's going to be qualified to be an official in this state. I mean, we want people that are qualified. We want people that know the rules. We want people that know what to look for when judging a fight. And even if you don't want to be a judge, I mean, I think it's a great thing for trainers to come and just see, okay, that's what judges are looking for when to tell their fighters, hey, this is what the judges are looking for when you're in the ring. So make sure you do this. A lot of times there's a lot of confusion about why a decision goes one way or the other. And a lot of that has to do with the system, I would say, because, excuse me, you could be in the ring and you can pulverize a guy for one or the first round, and then the second two rounds you can barely lose. And you lost that fight.
Right.
Because you lost 29-28 in that kind of situation. Well, this kind of explains why it's happening that way, and there's all kinds of debates already about should judging in MMA be changed to a half-point system, which I believe ISKA does use actually.
Right.
So there's just a lot of things that people need to know what to look for when it comes to a fight and how judges are able to see it.
I'm going to open up the floor. Mark Bowman, come on in. Mabo with Brandon Owens from the Alabama Athletic Commission.
Hello?
Mabo? He may have stepped away for just a minute. I'll get him back in a minute. Now, as we're making strides, is there a specific type of person that you're looking for? Does having a background in MMA actually help as far as learning the policies, procedures, and everything in place as far as being a judge and or an official?
Well, and I don't want to compare this too much to boxing because I know they're two completely different. Well, not completely different. They're two different sports. But some of your best boxing referees are women who have never been in the ring. You just have to be attentive to what you're looking for. I mean, it's not exactly, I know what an armbar is, or I know what a guillotine is. You just have to have people that are attentive and know what to look for when it comes to judging. It doesn't matter. I mean, experience is nice, but it's not at be all end all of judging an MMA card or a boxing card or any other combat sport.
Okay. There was something that I really wanted to ask you. Now, this is going to be treading on a little bit of a different turf, and we're going to take a slight subject change for 1 second.
No problem.
When different promoters come to you and approach the AAC, and this was something that has been a question mark for me for a while. If a new promoter or someone who has aspirations of putting on a show, whether they're a dojo or a gym owner, or if they're just someone who feels like they're a tremendous fan of MMA and they feel like that they've got the contacts in order to put together a proper show, what would you recommend to these people? As far as...
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I think you... what do you recommend for these people who are actually wanting to get into the realm as far as the front office of MMA?
Well, if you're wanting to promote a show, you gotta have certain things. But first thing I would suggest is you have a big pile of money
there you go.
to invest in it. Because if you try to do things on the cheap, you're going to get what you pay for, I guess you would say. But you need to make sure that your finances are right in order to do a show. There's certain kinds of bonding and insurance you have to get, and if anybody has any questions about that, they can just contact us, and we'd be more than willing to. We have forms to give them, and we can explain what bare minimum is needed to put on a show in the state. So you just got to make sure that you've got everything backed up that you want to do. Make sure you have the bonding. Make sure you have the medical insurance. Make sure you have a facility that you can put a good show in. I mean, if the facility is not in good shape, we're not going to approve the show. I mean, it has to be something that's going to be safe. The first thing we always look for with the Athletic Commission is safety, and make sure that it's a good place to have a show.
Right.
And the second thing we want to make sure is you have a certain number of fights. I mean, the minimum number of fights you can have for a show is 6 in this state.
Okay.
You want to make sure you have it. That means you got to have at least 12 fighters. Of course, that wouldn't. If you're going to have just 12 fighters, well, you might want to have a few more fights because there's a good chance. I don't think I've had a show yet where the card didn't change within the week of the show. So, except maybe, I might have had one show where the card stayed standing, but most of the time you're going to have fighters drop out. So, I suggest you have a big card, and you also have a good venue, and you also have your insurance and bonding worked out.
Because the networking here for MMA in the state of Alabama has grown exponentially, and you have where back before the AAC was created, there was some networking but a lot of competition, and now the competition seems to have gone to a more level playing field as far as who communicates what with whom. There's a lot more openness about it now, and everybody is like, look, we have the opportunity, we can get our dojos, we can get our gyms mentioned out there, we can get our fighters pushed, and everything's in place. And that's one thing that I will go ahead and say that was needed in this state. The lines of communication are improved so much better than they were 2 years ago or even 1 year ago. Now, real quick, before we hit the bottom of the hour break, and I hate to, but we're up against a hard break. The meetings for the AAC, when are they held nowadays?
They are held at different times. The state requires that we give a week's notice on the Secretary of State's website of when they're held, and it's usually my responsibility to I've had 2 meetings since I've been executive director, and I was executive director on October 1st. We had our first meeting in November, and then we had a second show in December. Right now, it looks like our next meeting will probably be in February. We're looking at February, somewhere around the week of February 4th through the 9th right now, but that's not a guarantee. I mean, you have to work with the commissioners, because the commissioners don't get paid to do this. So you have to work with their schedule a lot to make sure that it's the right time to do a meeting. So we try to keep. I've been trying to use Facebook and social media in order to keep people better informed about when meetings are, what's being discussed at the meetings, and we had a couple of people show up at the last meeting that had never been to a meeting before, didn't know anything about it, and I explained to them, I said, look, this is what you have to do to get on there, and they had a couple of issues they wanted to bring up, and they were able to come before the commission and talk about things. So I'm trying to be better at communicating with people than what was previously done before I became involved with the commission.
Well, if I may, our door is always open. I'll make sure that you have my cell phone number when we go to the bottom of the hour break. If you've got things, like I say, if you want to put some words out, we'll be more than happy to open our doors to be that venue. We broadcast live on Sundays, 5:30 p.m. until 8 o'clock p.m. Give me a buzz throughout the week. I think we've got each other on Facebook. I'm pretty sure that we do. Like I say, we have a great range of fans, whether it be wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, contact sports, all the way across the board, and even those who like comic books and strange music every once in a while. You never know what kind of conversation we're going to have on here.
Right.
Now, real quick before I go ahead.
Oh, well, I don't want to bog everything down with government every week. Sounds like y'all are having a pretty good time with the other stuff.
We cover everything all the way across the board. No holds are barred, no doors left unclosed, even the trap door down in Grandma's basement. Now, real quick, one more time, but for those who might be interested in the seminar, give us the specifics one more time.
Okay. The seminar is going to be 11 o'clock. It's going to start at 11 o'clock in the morning. On the 12th, it's going to be, we're looking at Killer Buzz Arena. We may do it at a location close by. We got to make sure we have the right classroom facilities for it. But we will at least meet there. And the specifics on that is Nelson Doc Hamilton is going to be the one leading it. He's one of the people that have really worked on the scoring system since the get-go for UFC and other MMA places. And he's going to be leading the training. He's a referee with UFC. And he's also, does trainings all over the country. And we were very thrilled to be able to get him. Now, the training itself, for refereeing, it is $100. And for judging, it's $75. And if you want to do both of them, we got a package deal for $150. I've put the forms up on the Facebook pages of the Alabama Athletic Commission. If you want to look on Facebook and look up Alabama Athletic Commission, it'll show you the event page. And we also, I'm putting up a WordPress page as we speak, and that's going to be alathletickommission.wordpress.com, and that's also going to have the form on it. You can download, fill it out, send it in to us with your payment, and that will make sure that you have a space reserved for the show.
Very cool. I want to thank you both for taking the time to come on. Mr. Owens, pleasure to finally be able to speak with you. Vicki, always a pleasure, darling. You know the door's always open. Folks, we're going to head to the bottom of the hour break, and when we come back, the Master of Malice, Mark James, right here, live on Beyond Ringside. Stay tuned.
This morning, a woman reached out. A man stepped up. Somebody sat down with 16-year-old Stephen and taught him better study habits, and suddenly, toughing it out till graduation seemed to Stephen a pretty good idea. We're realizing the way we live our lives can impact the way others live theirs, their education, their income, their health. We're not just wearing the shirt, we're living it. Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is Vengeance David Fuller, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
And this is Kenny Kip Kennedy, master of Kenny's Kempo Karate, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Smells good.
Well, look who came out of his man cave.
Just checking on you and dinner.
Well, your stomach clock is fast. Gonna be a while. Well, why don't you...
You okay?
Oh,
honey!
2 out of 3 people with diabetes die of a heart attack or stroke. But you can lower the risk. Ask your healthcare provider how. For more info, go to diabetesactnow.org. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association and the Ad Council.
This is the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, and the whole shebang. Johnny Gargano, you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, how you doing? This is Joe Walsh. I'm speaking on behalf of RAD. It's okay to rock and roll, right? But don't drive home drunk. If you're drunk, call me up. I have a limo. I'll come and get you.
Sleep all day, out all night. I know where you're going. I don't think that's
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Voodoo Lily with Birmingham's Tragic City Rollers, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
Hi, NBA forward Kevin Durant from the Oklahoma City Thunder, here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have more energy to do the things you like to do.
And that's a slam dunk.
Whether you like to shoot hoops like me, skateboard, ride a bike,
or dance on your roof,
be a player.
Get up, play, and move it your way.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
Oh, yes, this is Paul Bear, and some people call me Percy Pringle III. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Let me drive.
How do you know when it's time to give up the keys? When your dog grabs your keys from your lap and your lap is on the floor. Yep, it's Jeff Foxworthy for RAD saying, when you party, be sure to designate before you celebrate.
If you want to make it home alive, let me drive.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Please don't drink and drive. It's not fun.
This is the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas, and the whole shebang. Johnny Gargano, you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi, I'm Ryan Seacrest for RAD. Over 300 people in this country are killed every week by a drunk driver. That's the equivalent of 2 747 plane crashes every single week. And the problem isn't going away unless we all do our part to stop it. So if you see someone who's about to drive after drinking, get the keys. Don't leave it up to anyone else. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
It's me. It's that D to the O to the double G, always sitting next year. Yeah, doggy style, the road dog Jesse James, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside. Get it? Got it? Good.
Hi, this is Jamie McMurray here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Want to make a difference? It's simple. Be responsible. Plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate. Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council. Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation. Ah, that's a good one. Get up and dance, baby. If you're driving, pull over to the shoulder. If you're at work, yeah, time to violate the employee handbook. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound, that's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org, baby. This message is brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
This is Jacoby Boykins, a.k.a. the Alabama Ambassador, Mr. 256, and you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hi there, this is Sammy Hagar here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. Now, style's a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody else's business. Please, plan ahead. Designate before you celebrate, because friends do not let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
No, I haven't changed the rule. That one's still the same. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside Live, 19 before the top of the hour, and I have a feeling we're going to go sudden death because we can. By the way, want to remind everybody listening, Global Championship Wrestling's GCW Radio will be going live at 9 o'clock p.m. Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Yours truly, Ted Guinness, O'Hagan, and there might just be a J.J. Tanner sighting before it's over with. Fast Eddie Lang live. Did I just say Fast Eddie Lang? Damn, I was having an Asian moment. Who did I just offend? Who the hell did I offend now? Fast Eddie Lang behind the control panel. Mabo, welcome back.
Yeah. All right, so we have a winner of the national anthem.
Okay.
And Eddie, you want to tell us who it was?
It was the United Kingdom national anthem.
So let's hope I don't offend Mad Dog Matt Denton and the rest of his fellow countrymen.
Or Daryl B.
Is he British?
He's in the UK, dude.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and he listens almost every week.
Oh, cool. Anyway, well, I'll only sing the first verse. So, are we ready?
Yes.
Anybody want to harmonize, feel free to join in. God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen, God save the Queen. That's all I want to sing.
Mabo?
What?
America voted? You are still safe. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, been a while since we've heard this voice on any broadcast, much less here on Beyond Ringside. I'd like to welcome an extended family member, the Master of Malice, Mark James. Marcus, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, guys. It's great to hear from you guys, and I appreciate you having me back on in the year-end special.
You should know the door is always open, but you, ever since leaving another broadcast, which happened on another network, which we won't mention, sorry, you've pretty much maintained a radio silence to a great degree.
Yeah, I kind of fell off the face of the earth here. God, it had to be about a year or so ago. I was doing way too many radio broadcasts. It's one of those things where you just put yourself out there a little too much, and you've got to kind of dial it back a bit. So, I mean, it helped in certain ways, it hurt in other ways, and it helped me focus a little bit more. So it's been good. And now when I do go on somewhere, it's a special thing, you know. So sometimes less is more. Keep that in mind, rookies, in the wrestling business. Sometimes less is more. And again, when I'm doing 4 or 5 podcasts a week or something like that with the other network and with Power Pro Radio and you guys on the weekends and God knows what else I was doing at the time, it was just way too much for me. So I just needed to dial it back a bit.
Yeah, it kind of like left zero time for a family life, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, at the time I didn't have to worry about the family life, so it didn't matter. Now I have to worry about the family life. I've got a girlfriend, basically fiance, and we got a baby on the way now. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And so I had a full-time job again and everything else. So it turned when I had time for it and I had time for the business, because all I was doing was wrestling at the time. We wrestle 3-4 days a week and travel around. It doesn't really matter what you're doing at night, basically, unless you're in the ring. I have nothing else to do to talk about wrestling. But now my thoughts have changed a bit. My focus has changed a little bit. Well, older now, wiser, so I've had to make changes in my life, and enjoy the little things a lot more than I used to. Let's put it that way.
Where all have you been appearing in the ring lately?
In the ring lately, honestly, nowhere. I've done some stuff with CWF Mid-Atlantic, but I've taken some time off over the summer. Before that, obviously with Power Pro, I still love those guys. Still have family over there, but I haven't done a lot with them since the beginning of the summertime. But I had to take some time off from work, and it was nice to actually have some time out of the ring where I wasn't injured. And I know how weird that sounds to a lot of wrestling fans, that a worker would actually take some time off when he's not injured. But for me, mental injury is just as much as physical. And again, it got to the point that I needed to step back a little bit and kind of look at my life and what was going on, and make some changes, and just focus on my family and what was happening in my life before I jump back into the ring. And I'm still not completely there. I've done some shows for CWF, and I'm getting back into it. I know next week we've got a great show. Last night we had Battlecade 13, which is the beginning of season 13 for the company. It had been around for now at the end of 12 years, and what an amazing show that will also everyone can download the Battlecade show on online. They can get it from CWF247.com, and at CWF Mid-Atlantic. They also have some other shows, that old pay-per-views from Ultimate Survivor and the CWF Rumble from a couple months back. They're amazing shows, and if anybody has a chance, go and watch them. Cheap plug. But
see, I told you, it fits in perfectly around here, kids.
But anyway, when I did that last night and kind of hung out with the guys, and I didn't wrestle on the show, just was there, and talked about what we're going to do next year. So next year starts this weekend, actually Saturday night, the January 5th, 2013. It sounds so weird to say, but I'm going to be in Gibsonville, North Carolina, 1001 Springwood Church Road. And my wife's trying to kill herself, sorry. But yeah, 1001 Springwood Church Road in Gibsonville, North Carolina, at CWF Mid-Atlantic for New Year's Knockout. It's going to be a great show. I have no idea what I'm doing, who I'm wrestling, or anything else, but I've made a purpose this year for myself that I will win a championship in that company. And if I don't win a championship in that company, then I guess I'm too old to play with the young kids, and I need to pack up my boots and hang them up and call it quits, man.
So this could be the equivalent of one last ride for the Master Malice, right?
Well, at least there. Maybe I would have to rethink my abilities in the ring and things like that, and maybe go somewhere else and polish up a little bit before I come back. There's amazing talent there, all over the grid too, from very young to older veterans. So it's one of those things that, again, if I can't keep up with them, then I need to find a place that I can. And from going from companies that I was champion everywhere and being heavyweight champion in a lot of different places and having a lot of fun and being the top of the card everywhere, and then I come into CWF Mid-Atlantic a couple of years ago. In my first match there, I get pinned in 23 seconds. It kind of puts things in perspective, and I've had to literally fight and scratch and claw in order to gain any type of momentum in the company. It's a great company. So it's like being the little fish in the big pond again. But if I can't keep up with these guys, then I need to find a way to either keep up with them or learn how to, or step away from it because I just don't deserve to be there. So that's kind of how I feel about it. It's not a respect thing. It's not I don't feel like I'm being slighted or anything like that, because I've been in the business as long as I have, or in the sport as long as I have. But I feel like I haven't lived up to my own potential in that company, and I feel like I need to start showing what my potential is to the fans there, and to the company, and to the office, and everyone else, in order to basically make a case for me to actually be employed by that federation.
Okay. Mabo, come on in with Mark James.
Now, Mark, first of all, how have you been, sir?
I'm doing very well. Doing very well, man. It's great to hear your voice again without arguing with you.
Only you and the phone sex operator that I talk to every Friday night ever say that, and that's only because I give her my credit card number. But that's
true.
irrelevant. It is true. Seriously. But that's beside the point. That's irrelevant. Let me ask you something. It's between you and me. Don't worry about anybody else.
Okay.
What have been some of the high points in the world of pro wrestling, both personally and from what you've seen here and abroad?
As in overall, like my entire lifetime? Because, man, this could be a long show.
No, just let's stick with 2012. I mean, I know it's it's what the kids are talking about. It's the trendy thing for a couple more days. So let's just stick with 2012.
Okay. Personally, I've done some okay stuff. Like I said, I've been trying to make my way in this company. I haven't done too many things to really write home about. Basically, my return back to CWF, I guess, after taking a few months off, was pretty big for me. A great tag match with my tag partner Jason Miller against Chase Dakota and Joe Black over there. Both excellent young talents in that company. But that was probably a high point for me this year personally. But as far as like wrestling in general and overall, just seeing a lot of friends of mine get hired by bigger companies and kind of move on to bigger pastures. Seeing what guys like John Moxley's done this year, seeing what like Tyler Black's done this year with WWE and the Shield and that whole angle and what's going on there. I think that's awesome. Watching a very good friend of mine, I'm not as good friends with those guys, but I've seen their work a lot and know them, from in passing and stuff like that. But anyway, and watching a guy, Casey McKnight, get signed by WWE, and he's down in Florida now doing good things. Although he's injured right now, he messed up his ribs or something like that. But that's kind of my highlights of it. As far as what the fans watch, I guess with WWE and TNA, I really haven't watched TNA. I'm not gonna lie. I heard it's a great product. I can't follow it for some reason. And then Ring of Honor, I haven't watched a whole lot because when it got to the end of Jim Cornette's booking there, things got really cluttered. And if it doesn't make sense to me, I like had to kind of put it away for a little while and couldn't really focus on it to try and figure out the storyline because I just didn't want to waste the energy, really. WWE is kind of the same way, but they've done enough to be able to entertain me because I know enough of the workers there that it's been fun watching CM Punk and his change from the big baby to a heel with Paul Heyman there. I think that's been really good. Like I said, the Shield stuff, the chemistry between Daniel Bryan and Kane, I think has been pretty good up there. But I think this year, really the biggest thing has been, for me personally, and it's going to be weird, but the rise of Dolph Ziggler, honestly, has been really fun to watch. So from last year at WrestleMania, and after WrestleMania matches that he had with Daniel Bryan, and it just kind of elevated him, and now he's turning into a main event character in that company, so that's really fun for me to watch.
Okay. Now, Mark asked me earlier about somebody, and I'm going to go, actually, Mabo, I'll say it that way. Mabo asked me about somebody, and I'm going to let you give him the update. A good friend of ours here on the show, Jim Fox, also known as the hardcore hero Dick Foley.
Yeah, man, I'm probably the worst person to update you about him, though. Foley's doing good. I talked to him briefly via text here about a week ago, I think, and not really too much going on, but he's got his business going. Power Pro, again, during the Christmas holidays, his personal business, is really, really busy. So he didn't have a lot of time to devote to Power Pro. I'm sure I think they're coming back next year soon. But as far as I've heard, Foley's doing great. He's pretty happy with everything. He's got a nice little farm land area that he lives at now, and a lot of animals out there. So Mama Cat's real happy with it. And yeah, I hear he had a great Christmas and everything else. But as far as wrestling goes, they haven't done a show for Power Pro since October, I think it was. October? November? October. Yeah. And otherwise, I know he's wrestling at a lot of local places around here. I think AIWF wrestling, he's with them a lot, and him and Scrapyard Dog are continuing their feud up there. Him and Rob McBride have done some tag team stuff. The Boogie Woogie Man, Rob McBride. Obviously name passed on from Jimmy Valiant, who's a good friend of Rob's. But, yeah, so, I mean, Foley's doing well. Wrestling-wise, he's doing really well from what I hear. And, like myself and him, we haven't really crossed paths a lot this year, honestly, unless it's been a show. So for me to be giving you a huge update on him, I couldn't really do it.
Now, I don't know how much. The one major exposure that I'd had to wrestling in the Carolinas, of course, was the trip that I made to Power Pro back at the Seagrove show a couple of years ago. And I told you off air that I'd actually found some of the pictures that I took from that event. I'm going to try to start sending some up that way, and I'll probably put them on my Facebook, facebook.com/FastEddieLane, which I will normally mention in shameless plugs. But now, having an opportunity to work with Power Pro, with CWF, and a couple other promotions on and off throughout the year when you've been active in the business, do you find wrestling in the Carolinas actually starting to expand all over again? Because I know it goes through expansions and it goes through contractions. You have promotions come and go. You have some that come and grow and continue to do great things. How has it looked up in North Carolina for you? I mean, from your perspective.
As far as from my perspective, there's, I would really say, 2 or 3 still major players when it comes to wrestling in the state. AIWF has become a major player somehow, but it's basically because they have so many organizations that are tied along with them. They use a lot of the same talent, and like some are good, some are okay. But to be honest, I haven't been to their shows to judge them completely, but I know the guys involved. They've got good stories and things like that. There's a couple companies. CWF, I think, is definitely now and always has been one of the top brands in North Carolina. So they're an excellent company there. NWA, actually there's a couple more. It depends on the portion of the state that you're in, let's put it that way. AIWF is great in the western part of the state here. That's basically your top brand. Charlotte area, there's PWX and another company, Pro Wrestling Evo, that's down that way, that are both excellent companies that are kind of startups. They just started like last year. And PWX has been around for a little while. They're really associated with High Spots, and they're a great company down there. So those two are good. They use a lot of northern talent, like the Rhett Titus and the Dojo Boys now, with all the guys from Ring of Honor that are coming down. So they're using good talent there. CWF, again, in the mid area of the state, is excellent. The organization Lewis Moore runs, NCWA, or something like that. I don't know. I don't work for him. But I know Lewis Moore runs it, and it's an excellent organization out there that does good work. Then and the eastern part of the state, the best thing I know of that's going really is Shockwave is good on the coast. Shockwave Entertainment, really good stuff. And then down in Wilmington area, probably one of the best, definitely the best old school organization that I know of is NWA Worldwide Wrestling. Has been restarted by a good friend of mine, Jeff White. And that company also has some help with Q-Ball Carmichael and you know, a lot of older guys, like older heads that want to bring old school back to North Carolina, and they've done a great job. They had a show a few months ago that raised over $10,000 for a little girl who needed a kidney, and
nice.
And legit raised over $10,000, like sold out house, you know, 700 plus. It was amazing to see the turnout that they had there with no names at all. Not one guy that's been on TV recently. Not one guy. It's just great wrestlers, local wrestlers, great talent. Some older guys that have been there and done that and everything else, but you know, just really an organization that's ready to give back and do a lot of charity stuff. I think their next event that they have going on is in February. It's February 19th, and it's for one of the local Boys and Girls Club down there. So everything they're doing is for charity, and they run outstanding events. So I'm looking forward to working with them a little bit this year too.
Maybo, come on in. One more round with the Master of Malice.
Have you ever considered that proposition that I issued to you the last time you were on the show?
Well, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just not into that kind of thing. I like women. So.
Well, I mean, I told you I would pay for any, you know, medical expenditures, and I would be, you know, everything that you would need, you know, the rubber sheets, the lube,
good.
Salad the salad tongs. I know you like the salad tongs.
God.
Oh, definitely salad tongs. Gotta have those, and the hamster too. Okay, we gotta have a good hamster and a tube to get them back out. Yeah.
I know, but ASPCA, they on my back after the last time we used hamsters.
Use a raccoon. They don't give a damn about those.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you liked when guys were on your back. What?
Well, I like you on my back because, you know, your man boobs resting gently on my shoulders.
Oh, man.
Okay.
But just remember, nobody wants rabies of the anus. So
no,
they don't.
Have a question for the master of malice, Mark James.
Actually, I'm going to ask.
What was the proposition? Because I really don't remember this. I'm sorry.
That was his way of stalling out of asking.
I didn't have a damn question, dude. I was just trying to vamp. There was no proposition. I was just trying to vamp.
Actually, one loaded question for you.
Hold on, Eddie.
Go ahead.
Shush. Eat a crouton. Shush. I do have a question. You said a good somebody, Casey McKnight signed WWE Developmental. Have they slapped him on NXT yet? And if so, who is he?
He is Scott Dawson now.
I have seen that dude.
Yes, and I believe he has been on the NXT. I haven't been able to get. I don't have Hulu, so I'm having a hard time catching it. But I know he's wrestled Chris Hero. Or Cassius Ono, whatever the hell his name is now. But yeah, I know. I think his first match down there was against Chris, and that's awesome. What's that?
Well, I got Hulu was running a free trial week, and I literally everything that that they had archived on Hulu. Plus, I don't know why they just can't put it on regular Hulu. I was able to catch up with, and I do remember seeing. I peruse the NXT website all the time anyway. But I want to say I did see Scott Dawson. I want to say I saw that name pop up. So I was just wondering because I was like, I looked him up when you said his name, and I was like, this dude looks familiar. So that's why I was wondering who he was.
Yeah, he's an outstanding talent. He's been around for a while. He had a shot with WWE when he first got in. He had a dark match literally 6 months into the business. He wrestled Jake Roberts. And did well, but it just didn't work for him at the time. But now he's really in the right place to be able to do it. Like I said, he's just trying to get over this rib injury, and once he does, I'm sure he's going to be back in the ring. And again, it's a guy that I know because I've been around the business a lot. I know him somewhat personally, but not somebody I go to his house and hang out with either. I'm just super proud of the kid because I've seen him from literally almost day one in this business to now. And watched him grow and everything else. And not that I have anything to do with him or where he is now in the business. It definitely was more. I think it started with ACPW with Trey G out there, and then definitely went with and also with Stro, the Maestro had a lot to do with KC, and then George South did a lot of the especially the polishing with him. Everything else. So, but this kid's been all over the place and just an amazing talent. Really is an amazing talent. I'm super happy for him and proud of him because he's living his dream. So it's really cool to see that. You don't get to do that often in this business. You don't get to see guys start from day one and really make it anywhere. So that's just really cool to be able to do that.
Well, let me go ahead and lay this one out there for you. On a semi-serious note, which is actually a serious note, just the size of a semi, what does it take to get the Master of Malice, Mark James, back on air a little bit more often? Say, cameo appearances here on BR?
Just let me know. Just the same thing you did last week, man. Text me, be like, hey, can you do the show? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? I love doing cameos. I love doing appearances. I don't want to do them every week anymore because it just takes up so much time. But yeah, every once in a while, or once a month, maybe once every couple of weeks, something like that. I'd love to be able to do it. You know how to reach me, brother. My number doesn't change. Not anymore. And if it does, then you got my Twitter, you got my Facebook, you got anything in the world, man. Anytime you need me, just let me know.
Well, let me go ahead and do this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and ask if you'll come on out with us because I'm going to go ahead and turn back over for a second. Made a post in some of the wrestling forums over on Facebook and on Twitter. Some of the favorite moments of the year. Mike England making a statement about the Pacquiao-Marquez boxing match. Clay Burton looking to the prospect of a 5th fight between the two of those. Good friend of ours here in the Alabama market, Hot Ice Wayne Shell, making his favorite moment of the year, O'Hagan versus Micah Taylor. Clay Burton making the comment that the Shield's first match was his favorite moment of the year to this point as we wrap up 2012. Good friend of ours, Ted Guinness, making reference to the Underground Soldiers winning the GCW Tag Team titles and the KCP and the Brotherhood in a Irish pub brawl. So just some of the moments that have been mentioned as favorite moments of calendar year 2012. Now, as we're going to head for the ranch, I'm going to go ahead and pop a last call that I want both of your opinions on. And
wait a minute. I'm sorry. Nobody mentioned the 7-match series between Pierce and Cabana.
Nobody that I saw post. Nobody that I saw post.
That's because they're what Eddie calls what do you call them, Eddie? The MTFers.
A lot of people are MTFers, and some people make reference to local promotions. Some people make reference to more nationally known situations that they've seen on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Others make direct references to what they see as, of course, the MTFers, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Raw, Impact, and SmackDown. And, and
they're nothing but troglodytes and neophytes. If it's not put on by Vince McMahon or by God Dixie Carter in the wrestling, then we don't want nothing to do with it. We can't watch intelligent wrestling.
Well, see, I'm looking at moments that have occurred all the way across the board because I remember matches that have taken place in ROH. I remember matches that have taken place in OVW, in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, back when it was in the NWA promotion before the split earlier this year. And even after the split, they've had some great action out there. Prime Wrestling up in Ohio, used to be called Pro Wrestling Ohio. It's now called Prime Wrestling. Chikara's had some damn good moments. Combat Zone Wrestling has had some great moments. So, honestly, and this is where I'm going to be totally shallow and self-centered for a moment. One of my favorite moments of the year, whether it be wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing, all the way across the board, was having the honor and the privilege of being able to be one of the commentary team, one of the broadcast team for Sport Fight X in Huntsville, Alabama, early this year when we did the first sanctioned Pro-Am mixed martial arts show, and it was an pay-per-view from the Von Braun Civic Center. On a personal note, to me, that was one of the top 5 moments of the year. Global Championship Wrestling, GCW's had some tremendous moments, whether it be at the Alabama State Fair where they had the Rumble-style Battle Royal, and at the end of that, O'Hagan and Micah Taylor went an additional 20 minutes. And I put that on the same par, and I know what Mabo's going to say, but I'm going to say this anyway because this is from the heart. What O'Hagan and Taylor did at the end of that Battle Royal paralleled to me what Taker and Shawn Michaels did at the end of the Royal Rumble that year when it was the two of them as the last two in there. So, everybody's had some great moments. I can call on personal experience for a lot of mine. I can call on what I've seen on the internet and on television for a number of mine. Mabo, I'm going to go ahead and ask your favorite moments of 2012.
It'll be when the clock strikes midnight. It's 2013 because 2012 has sucked. I don't know, dude. Shoot, look. If people want to know what I like, go back and listen to every show that I've been on the past year. I usually tell you what I like right then and there. When you and Wick stop freaking patting each other on the back and blowing each other's trumpets. So, yeah, take that.
And normally when we're not blowing each other's trumpets, we're sounding the horn for Mark Bowman, the breakout star beyond ringside.
Stop doing that.
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, dude. That's from the heart.
I'm saying it.
I wouldn't say
I'm an underachiever. No, stop.
Okay, you're the breakout underachiever of the show.
Stop it. Mark James, you're thingamabob of the who's whatever Eddie said.
Personal favorite moment of 2012.
Oh, man. Now, so many things happen, and I get hit in the head way too much to remember what dates anything happened. Shoot. What did happen this year? Did anything big happen in wrestling this year that I was, really excited about? Punk turned heel. Yeah, that was cool. That was really it. Again, for me, it's not really, wrestling moments, although there were a couple big ones that I'm sure that if I really, really thought about it, I'd be like, oh, wow, that was just awesome. But for me, it's more moments with seeing stuff and seeing people break out, and watching guys like Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander break out in Ring of Honor. That to me is a moment of this year, because and one of my favorite moments, because Caprice, I love that guy, and I'm so happy for him to finally get his break too.
Amen.
But yeah, like stuff like that is what I've really keyed on this year. Like seeing guys like John Moxley, or Dean Ambrose now, and Seth Rollins, I guess now, having their breakout moment and doing what they did, making an impact. Like stuff like that is what really keys on me. The whole Kevin Steen angle in Ring of Honor this year, I thought has been brilliant, honestly. I think it may be running its course now. I think they need to kind of change it. But at first, when they really brought him back in, and the whole feud with him and Cornette, and that whole series was great. It was excellent TV. And then again, with bringing back El Generico to wrestle him, and then in Dragon Gate USA with Johnny Gargano being the champion there for a whole year. That is unprecedented in that company. It's amazing.
Right.
And again, watching him from when I first remember him showing up in Shikara as part of Fist, where he kind of like took over for Akuma in Fist over there. And then let's see, Shikara with the whole Jigsaw heel turn on Mike Quackenbush. I thought that was great. Well, I really have watched a lot more wrestling this year than I thought I had.
It catches up with you, doesn't it?
Yeah, man. And then stuff as of last night, literally to bring it back home, Battlecade 13, a great friend of mine, again, that I've known since his first day in the business, basically. First at least couple months in the business. Eric Royal wins the CWF Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship last night. And stuff like that to me is huge moments that a lot of people wouldn't normally be able to see, but because they're putting that out for a free download this week, another cheap plug, CWFMidatlantic.com CWF247.com to find out the information on it. But it's going to be a free download of the entire Battlecade show. Will be online for anyone to watch. So I really push that out there. If you guys want to see what's going on in the South, in North Carolina right now, and the best of what we have to offer, watch that free download. And then after that, buy the iPay-per-views of the Ultimate Survivor iPay-per-view from CWF and the Rumble pay-per-view from CWF, and really good stuff. And watch those and enjoy it, because that's where wrestling is headed, and that's where the young talent is in this state, and what's the future of this state. So it should be really good.
Then let me go ahead.
Shiva. Oh God, Shiva's awesome.
Let me go ahead and take it in this direction. Mark Mabo Bowman. Last call.
Well, it's gonna spring this on you, and I wish Wicked was here too, but and I didn't say anything to Eddie about this. But tonight's episode, this is gonna be my last episode of Beyond Ringside for 2012. I'm gonna take the rest of the year off. I'll be back in 2013. Don't worry. But it's just something I've really been struggling with. It's just maintaining a daytime job and then being able to try to do Beyond Ringside. It's just gotten to be too much for right now. So I need to, there's still the old Shawn Michaels adage of I need to go find my smile. So this will be my last show for 2012, but I will be back in the early part of 2013, and I just want to say thank you all for listening. And I told myself I wasn't going to tear up, and I'm trying not to. But so like I said, just keep listening to the show, and support Eddie and Wicked. But like I said, I'll be back 2013. I'll see you guys. So thank you for giving me one hell of a run in 2012. Gonna miss you, brother. But we'll see you in 2013. And I understand it. I need him to take time away. I really do. And Mark, I don't know if you've ever been a part of the last call sequence. It's anything that's on your brain that you'd like to pop out there, wrestling, MMA, sports related, all of the above. The floor is yours.
Nothing really. Just thank you. Thank you guys for having me on. Thanks for the fans that are care enough to actually listen to me being long-winded and everything here. Other than that, just really excited for 2013. We got a lot of changes that are going on, and a lot of new stuff that's happening, and I'm going to be a daddy again, so I'm excited. with that. She's excited to get over the morning sickness. But no, it's been really cool. Oh, congrats to Adrian Peterson, I guess, or sports related, something random, becoming the second best rusher in NFL history, right behind Eric Dickerson. Missed it by 9 yards.
Damn.
I don't know if you guys heard about that. 9 yards away from breaking the record. Poor guy. But amazing player. Comeback player of the year. Definitely MVP this year. And I'm not even a Vikings fan. Congratulations to the Panthers for finally pulling their heads out of their asses and winning some games this season. And other than that, congratulations to Andy Reid for being unemployed.
By the way, real quick, where can everybody find you on the web, Mark?
Nowadays, real simple. Real Mark James on Twitter and on Facebook also. So anywhere I am, it's Real Mark James, Twitter and Facebook. And if you add me, I'll add you. I don't really care. On Facebook, that is, not on Twitter. Twitter, I'm very particular on who I actually follow and who I don't. But Facebook, if you add me, I'll add you. I don't care. But feel free to contact me anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
You got it. Maybo, shameless plugs.
Oh, everybody knows shameless plugs. I want to do something that Wicked would want me to do if I was here. And that's going to... You know what, Eddie? I'll save it till the end of the show. I'm going to save it till the end of the show.
We're technically there.
Well, I mean, no, till once we get through shameless plugs and everything.
Okay.
So don't play any music, because this will be for Wicked. Twitter, MA_BO, Facebook, Mark Bowman. All the other stuff's been cataloged, so go back and listen to it. I don't really feel like it. So... Now, the Wicked Nemesis, you can find him at Wicked Nemesis over on Twitter. Enoch Sarion, ENOCHTSARION, over on Facebook. And he's got a bunch of other places like the YouTubes and the Funny or Dies and the things and the stuff. And Eddie, you know all that stuff. So.
And, of course, don't forget you can catch Wicked Nemesis and yours truly, along with co-host Tasha Simone, on Wednesday nights right here on BeyondRingside.com for the To Be Determined show. 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Moving over from TNT-radio.net, and also about 30 minutes, about 45 minutes for right now, about 43. GCW Radio, Global Championship Wrestling's radio product, goes live. Yours truly, Ted Guinness, O'Hagan, and there may be a JJ Tanner sighting. Who knows? Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There were some other things that we're going to mention about Wicked. Of course, Wicked not able to be here today. He's on a family gathering, and like I said earlier, and it always holds true, family does come first. If I could, I just want to go ahead and take a moment and say this to everybody. We have had some tremendous guests on Beyond Ringside, and I really couldn't think of a better way, because there is no better way to wrap it up for 2012 than to have family on here. And I'm referring, of course, my brother, Mark Bowman, not real brother, just adopted in certain ways, and just... I call him the breakout. Now he is the breakout underachiever of Beyond Ringside, but hey, what the hell? I wish Wicked could be... Hey, Tandell, come go. Tandell, dude, appreciate you, man. Seriously, though, everybody from Brooks Logan, Paulie Wells, I was trying to make arrangements for the Man Called Evil, Hitman BDC, and some of the original cast to come on today. Time constraints in play, but we're definitely going to have them on as the weeks progress in 2013. Tasha Simone, thank you for coming on. Matt Denton was supposed to be joining us, Maybo's UK counterpart. Unfortunately, his work schedule prohibited. Got to make $1. That's all I can say.
Tunsy sends his love to you and Wicked and to the show.
Tunsy, we miss you, man. We need you to call in sometime. The door is always open. You should know that by now. Special thank you to Vicki Jackson. Always a pleasure to hear from her, and I'll see her definitely on the 12th down at the Strike Hard Productions promotion in Tuscaloosa. A great honor to have the executive director of the Alabama Athletic Commission, Brandon Owens, on with us on Beyond Ringside this evening. Tremendous. And we will have him back on in the very near future. I'm to make sure that he has my telephone number. And, of course, helping to put a wrap on everything, the one, the only, the Master of Malice, Mark James, longtime friend of ours here on Beyond Ringside. And, you know, I still think about the trip where I had a chance to actually meet you, Foley, and a lot of the characters, Michael Devine, Scotty Matthews, Gluteus Maximus. The list, I'm going to miss somebody in a minute. Of course, working with Phil Shatter that night, Chemo, Caprice Coleman, of course, icing on the cake but to be able to hang out with y'all, and I wish something would happen where I could make a trip back up there sometime soon. You never know. Hey, anything can happen. Let it be springtime, that way we don't have to worry about a blizzard happening. But you know how that crap goes, by the way. And all of us seem to have forgotten to do this, and I figured for sure Mark would have done it. Mark James would have done it before the end of the show. Hell damn ass. But we keep things in proper perspective.
He did hell damn ass. You weren't paying attention.
I did hell damn ass.
Oh, hell nuts. I missed it. Fudge
I
ripple.
did it during Mavo's rant about the all the different possibilities that him and I could do together.
That's what I meant. That's where I missed it, because when he starts doing that, I have a tendency to tune him out, because it's just like, just let him run. Have fun with it.
Don't let the retard play in the ball pit.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, it's a pretty color. I get to toss the balls around. Okay. Don't ever ask me to make sense. That crap never works. But to everybody who has joined us here on BR, matter of fact, speaking of Caprice, he and Cedric Alexander joined us a couple of weeks ago. Great to have them on. They were actually in a first for us, where they were getting ready to go to the ring for their match, and the second they hung up with us, they broke curtain.
Oh, wow.
So they took time out of their schedule to Caprice set up the interview and forgot about the fact that he had the show, but he still wanted to make good on the promise. So he actually sprung Cedric on us as a surprise guest, so which was an added bonus. So of course, professionalism all the way across the board. You know, this year we've had the brand new owner and executive director of the National Wrestling Alliance, Bruce Tharp. We've had Fred Rubenstein, the CFO of the company, on with us. We're working on getting COO Chris Ronquillo. We've had a number of great promoters on this year in all spectrums. Of course, all the stars from Chikara that have come on with us this year. A couple of the stars from ROH. We've had some great guests all the way from the local range all the way to national television, and it's been a hell of a run for this year. And I've got plans in works to where it's going to get even bigger in 2013 and then some. We're going to be taking it on the road a little bit more often. The cast is going to be in different places. Of course, everybody knows that I work primarily with Global Championship Wrestling. I do appearances with Sport Fight X, and now having just signed the deal with Strike Hard Productions to do their ring announcing, I'm very honored for that, and thank you. I've got to say it. I got to say it the way it should be. Thank you, Lord. Greatly appreciated. He who makes all things possible in my world, and it's humbling to say the least. But it's just, like I said, it's been tremendous. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has been listening to us all along the way, and coming in the chat rooms, or whether you're listening and not doing the chat room thing, or whether you're listening through the podcast, the replays, putting it up on the 24/7 channel, which we've got one running full scale. When we're not live on it, you can click and hear complete episodes of Beyond Ringside, To Be Determined, and GCW Radio. And we've made that move back in that direction again, and we're actually getting nibbles and requests as far as purchase of commercial time, which are greatly appreciated. So we're definitely going to be picking some things up in other directions on Beyond Ringside, the 24/7 channel, the podcast, the replays, the YouTube feed. It's a labor of love, and I've loved every minute of it, and I will continue to love this project and product, because I enjoy what we do here. It's been fun. It continues to be fun. And because of people like Mark Bowman and Wicked Nemesis, there's never a freaking dull moment. Plain and simple. If you ever need a good laugh sometimes, call in live, Mark. I'm serious. Because to catch Wicked and Mabo going back and forth, it's like, holy shit. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Mabo, you said you had something you wanted to do.
Well, yeah, I was going to send this out. Actually, I have a special call-in.
Go for it. Line's open.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get him on the line.
You should have already been doing that.
No, I gotta see. I gotta get him on the line. Get him on the line. Okay. All right. Well, he and I, Wicked Nemesis, myself and Wicked Nemesis are big fans of this guy. He's actually called in before. You know, some of the many celebrities we've had on.
Yes.
And he wants to sing us out.
Okay.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for David Bowie.
Okay.
Thank you to Fast Eddie Lane. Thank you to Wicked Nemesis. Thank you to Beyond Ringside and all our fans in 2012. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you listening to the show. Thank you listening. The show's great. Tune in 2013 for more. Thank you, Fast Eddie Lane. You're sexy. Wicked Nemesis Mohawk sexy. Malice of Master and Mark James and Anus. Mark James is a sexy man.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, David Bowie. Yeah, dyslexia, fun so much. You see what I mean, James?
Wow. That was the second worst singing rendition I've heard on a radio show in the past year. Let's put it that way.
I think the
hey,
first.
Don't blame me. That was David Bowie, man.
Yeah. Well, the first one was actually, oh God, who was it? Rikishi. What's his name? Not Scotty, but Brian Christopher, and I think it may have been Sonny, singing "Happy Birthday" to Shoot Finish Radio. I think it was about a year ago.
Damn.
Not that it sounded that bad. Well, it did sound bad. It sounded really bad. But they just couldn't get it right. Like, they were calling people wrong names and stuff like that. Great guys, great group of people. But and the sentiment was great. But still,
believe me, Mark. This show knows a lot about calling people by the wrong names. Just ask Fast Buddy Lane there,
or Junior, but yeah, I know.
Dr.
Andy.
Dr. Tom Pritchard. Oh, Mark, you need to go back and listen to it. Tom Pritchard was literally like, Eddie was like, Fast Eddie Lane, how you doing? He's like, all right, Buddy Lane? No, Eddie, Buddy? Eddie Lane, sir. Buddy Lane? Okay.
Or when we had somebody's mom call in, or I think it was mom call in just to make sure it was confirmed. Wasn't it Andy?
Who was it? Oh, whose mom was it that we called? No, it was Buff Bagwell's mom.
I said that. I wasn't going to say the name. Damn shit.
Oh, what happened?
It wasn't really his mom. I don't know. She was like, Buff on the toilet.
Oh, my God. Wow.
There's never a dull moment around this place. Let's take this son of a gun home. Folks, we'll be sure to follow us on...
It was about a month ago, and all I could picture was Buff Bagwell with his top hat and his sunglasses on, sitting on the toilet, and he's sitting there going, Mom, trying to take a dump. I'll do the interview later.
Oh, crap.
That's the only thing I could think about. That's what just ran through my mind. With Fast Buddy Lane.
Be sure to join us on Twitter at Beyond Ringside, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. I would mention the friends page, but it's over 5,400 friends with over 1,200 waiting. So please go to the fan page and click like. It takes 2 extra seconds. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. And of course, catch everything going on BeyondRingside.com. I would throw out my...
Where can they find you, Eddie? You didn't give out your Twitter stuff.
I was just about to. At Fast Eddie Lane on Twitter, Fast Eddie Lane over on Facebook, and of course, FastEddieLane.com. Check it out when you get a chance.
Will you be cooking chicken wings anywhere anytime soon?
This Thursday, I'll be back hosting, playing the music and opening up the microphones. Thursday, Buffalo Wild Wings in Trussville. Friday, Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. And this coming Saturday night, I will be back with Global Championship Wrestling in Palmerdale, Alabama at the Palmerdale Homestead Community Center. Matter of fact, you can find out more about that in 31 minutes from right now when GCW Radio goes live right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Until then, for the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
Go out and support your local independent wrestling, and thank you all for listening in. Thank you for supporting us in 2012. And I have a Hitler mustache and Nazi boots.
And a really big mohawk.
And a sexy mohawk.
His mohawk stands prouder than Ron Jeremy did in the 80s.
And but the difference is he can't suck his own mohawk. So.
There you go. Wow. For Tasha Simone, Matt Denton, miss you, man. For Brooks Logan, Paulie Wells, Vicki Jackson, the Executive Director of the Alabama Athletic Commission, Brandon Owens. For 2 tons. Miss you, dude. Call in, damn it. For the Master of Malice, Mark James.
Guys, thank you again for having me, man. It was a blast. I appreciate it.
For the one, the only, Mark Mabo Bowman.
Yeah, you know what? Piss on all you guys. You guys are the ones that screw up my Sunday nights. You freaking people who sit there and listen. Maybe the fat one will say something funny.
And he always finds a way to do it too, you ass. This is the host and moderator for Beyond Ringside, the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane. Until next time, adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, arrivederci. Fudge nuts, I screwed it up.
You screwed it up. You screwed up the one tagline I was wanting you to freaking close out the year with. You screwed it up.
Adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao. Zip it. Adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, arrivederci, farewell, abasino, au revoir, and until we meet again, aloha means Happy New Year. See you next Sunday, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, right here on Beyond Ringside. Bye for now.
Aloha does not mean Happy New Year.
Aloha means bye-bye, and this time it's the end of the year, so it means whatever the hell I want.
It can mean it in French. You never know.
I said au revoir, bitch.
Hey. Don't be getting hostile.
What? I said au revoir.
Hey, there's children watching. You can't say things like that.
There's children watching?
I'm surprised. You said shit earlier. I was shocked.
Oh, he said fudge, too, but he didn't say fudge. Little Ralphie Parker.
He didn't say fudge, did he?
No, he didn't say fudge. I'm going to go back and get that in post.
Oh, wow.
Me and post-production are really freaking good friends. That's why I always end up rebroadcasting this crap.
Next thing you know, we're going to have you on the toilet with a piece of soap in your mouth asking you if you heard that from.
As I look to the skies and say, miss you, Mom, I know. God, I'm having flashbacks. Sick bastards.
Are you still running?
That's called Easter eggs. Mabo, say something funny.
Something funny.
Easter eggs done. We're out. Bye-bye. Happy New Year!
Mothball.